H&R Block. Join us for a ribbon-cutting grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce at the new H&R Block office in Folsom this Thursday, the 22nd, from 11 till 2 p.m. The first 150 guests score free tacos. Plus, you can enter to win gift baskets from local Folsom shops. And new clients filing at this location receive a special discount. Celebrate, win, and save at the new H&R Block in Folsom. A smart play for tax this year with H&R Block.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson. Online at SactownSports.com or on the app. Kings, Niners, and Sacramento. The Matt and Kayla Show starts now.
Do you ever shower at the airport? Carmichael Dave does.
Oh, my goodness.
Like that's relatable.
We're relatable, though.
We'll get to that point. One day, Matt and Kayla will be talking about on their show showering at the airport or flying while you can lay down or whatever.
Right? I would like to try that someday, guys. Like in those
Which one?
pods. Well, the pods I think I would enjoy first. I don't know if I would shower at the airport. That's a little uncomfortable for me.
A little crazy.
But the pods seem nice. The little the pods where you can lay down.
Oh, those recliner things.
Yeah, you get like facial masks.
The longest flight I've ever been on is like 5 hours. So I have never experienced a red eye, and I've never experienced a super long flight. So I can't relate to anybody talking about the struggles of dealing with that. But I enjoy flying. I love to fly because it's never really business related. It's always like vacation related.
Sure.
So
you're always happy wherever you're going.
Took my son on his first flight back in November when we took him to Disneyland. He loved it. He did really good on the plane, too.
Did he? So you weren't one of those parents that everybody's looking around, why is your kid throwing a fit? Why is your kid crying?
we waited until he was old enough to at least be able to regulate some of that emotion. Sure. Although I got a call, Kayla, at the Kings game last night. I get a call from my wife. It's like the middle of the third quarter, and we're watching the Kings melt down in front of us. Don't worry, we'll talk about that. Hey, welcome into the Matt and Kayla Show, Sactown Sports. Matt George, Kayla Anderson, of course, Kyle Ledbetter on the other side of the glass. I get a call from my wife and saying, like, you need to talk to your son. And I'm like, oh, God, he's in trouble. What did he do?
Yeah.
My son is sobbing.
Oh, no.
Totally sobbing. I'm thinking he broke something, got in trouble. What happened? No, he watched some cartoon, which was I guess, some sort of Peter Pan cartoon, but it was like when they were little. And the crocodile, baby version of the crocodile, got abandoned by its friends or something. And my son was destroyed by it. My son sobbed for 45 minutes straight, heartbroken that this little baby crocodile got like abandoned in this Peter Pan. So, hey, shout out Disney.
This poor thing.
You're supposed to be the happiest place on earth. No, you made my son. It was like his first heartbreak.
I get it.
And I'm like, son, you're crying. I want to cry because the Kings just got outscored 42-2 in the third quarter.
Exactly. Yeah, we're both crying together at the same time. Different reasons.
He's learning young.
It's different kind of trauma. It's different kind of trauma.
Alligator tears.
Crocodiles. See? Yeah. Well, so thanks. Shout out Disney for making Shout out Disney for making a cartoon Disney. That destroyed my son. There are movies that I still will not watch because I either as a kid or a teenager like sobbed so hard. Okay, I haven't seen that.
Don't, because you'll sob.
So there's 2 or there's 3. One of the most obvious ones is Marley and Me. Never again.
I can't.
Never
with that.
again.
Not
no,
dogs.
Like I'll watch people die left and right. No problem. You kill an animal that I think nope. There's another one. This is a Disney movie, Milo and Otis, where little kitten is like going down the stream crying for help. Yeah, I'm a wreck every time.
Yep.
And then my mom, when I was I was probably in grade school. You remember Radio, the movie Radio?
Absolutely, with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yes, that movie destroyed me. Spoiler alert, when his mom passes away, I was wrecked. Mm-hmm. So I will still, to this day, not watch those 3 movies ever again.
Okay.
Ever again.
Don't then watch My Girl, because I think you would probably be
brutal.
devastated, too.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I don't cry very often, but when I do, full waterworks.
Same here.
Full gushing.
I mean, you're used to it with the Kings. You've built up
it's all
armor,
dried. With
right?
the Kings, it's just all dried
crying.
tears. No more crying. Well, to be fair, I did shed a tear in Portland when the Kings finally clinched their playoff berth. I was working at ABC 10 at the time, and my partner, Kevin John, got it on video and, of course, put it on social media. But I was proud of those tears. That was a fun moment. But, yeah, when I maybe cry once every 2 years maybe, but it's Niagara Falls. Like, poof.
It's like you hold it in and then it all comes out at once. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what you go to therapy for, kids, not to hold it all in. Well,
also, before we move on, I just Googled the description to My Girl, a movie that
you're
Kayla...
gonna hate on me?
I'm not going to hate. I'm just, based on description alone, I'm shocked that this movie makes you cry all the time.
Yeah.
What's the synopsis?
The synopsis is Tomboy, is it Veda? Is that how the girl's name is pronounced? Anyways, has good reason to be morbid. Her mother died giving birth to her, and her father operates a funeral service. The other kids think she's a freak, and it certainly doesn't help that her best friend Thomas, played by Macaulay Culkin, is a boy. To make matters worse, she's desperately in love with her English teacher, Miss Bixler. What is an 11-year-old girl to do?
Okay, that does not show any of what happens in that movie.
That's why I'm confused.
Terrible. Because no one saw it coming. No one saw it coming.
I hate
with her little best friend Macaulay Culkin.
I hate movies that just throw something sad at you out of nowhere. Like you know the Adam Sandler movie Click? Like it's an Adam Sandler movie. It's supposed to be doofus comedy.
Yeah.
I only know
movie's sad as hell.
It
gets
sad
super
movie.
sad at the end. I'm like, what are you doing to me? I'm here to watch an Adam Sandler movie.
That shouldn't happen with Adam Sandler.
No, don't be doing that. Don't be swerving me with sadness.
You're saying Adam Sandler's not allowed to have range?
No. Well, he does have incredible range. He's put in some amazing movies.
Yeah.
But it's a comedy about a remote that fast forwards and rewinds time with Adam Sandler going, ah! Like, it's supposed to be funny.
And then it gets...
And then he's like, oh, no, death. I'm like, okay, great.
Spoiler alert.
It was like 2004. Get over it.
I haven't watched it, but my only reference to it is Alan Stiles mentioning it all the time when we were doing a show together.
That is definitely an Alan Stiles movie. For sure an Alan Stiles movie.
Well, he kept saying that's what he wants to do with this Kings season, is just click.
Yep. Fast forward. Yep, we've been there. It's like if you could do it in a video game, you're simulating through this season and getting to the offseason, or at least getting to the trade deadline, which, guys, is exactly 2 weeks away from today. Of course, we'll touch on that a little bit. We got a jam-packed show for you, and we are starting with a bang at 10:30. ESPN 49ers reporter Nick Wagner is going to join us, sum up this entire season. We had both John Lynch, general manager of the Niners, and Kyle Shanahan, head coach, speak to the media yesterday. Nick was one of the people in the room, so I'm sure he'll tell us a little bit about that. Later in the show, at the 1 o'clock hour, we'll react to what Coach Shanahan and John Lynch had to say.
They did not hold back.
No, of course not. And the comments about Brandon Aiyuk, there was no beating around the bush there. Even talks about the electromagnetic whatever the hells that are breaking their players down slowly over time. There were comments about that. That's at 10:30. We get Nick Wagner. At 11:05, Basketball Hall of Famer, NBA national writer, senior NBA writer for ESPN and Anscape, Marc Spears, who's been a friend of mine for a while. He joins the show. I was actually talking with him at the game last night. He's going to talk to us about this Kings season, talk to us any additional information just to this Jonathan Kuminga saga, weighing in on that, the NBA trade deadline in general. It's a real treat having Marc on, and we're hoping it'll become a regular here on this show. Marc's amazing.
Can't wait for that.
So that's going to be really, really cool. We're diving into what Doug Christie and I almost said Scott Perry. Doug Christie and Sam AI said on the morning show this morning, the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Both of them were on. Doug and Sam both had some interesting things to say. We got so much to get to in this show today, and we are excited that you're here to be a part of it with us here on this Thursday, but it is not a victory Thursday. Hey, Kayla, remember when we were like, the Kings are winning too much. They won 4 in a row.
I do remember that. Wasn't that when we debuted last week? Yeah, it was.
Our I guess, good beginning of the show, good run for the Kings is over and done with because they've lost 3 straight. They lost to the Raptors last night, 122-109. They're 12-33 on the season, and they're back to that one bad quarter, just burying them.
I was literally just going to say that. I feel like we had 4 games of like front to back type of good play, no real lulls, and then since then, when that win streak was broke, it was back to like at least 1 quarter of just they put themselves in a giant hole, and they can never get out of it. And I think you spoke about it on your podcast. I was going through numbers early this morning. I know plus minuses don't mean everything in the world.
Right.
But when I looked down at the starters in terms of yesterday and saw minuses down the entire row, and then looked, obviously we'll talk about the time that some of these guys got again, DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, who I didn't think particularly played great last night. And then you looked at the guys coming off the bench, and for the most part, more pluses there besides Malik Monk, who still, I thought, played pretty good last night.
He had a great first half. He was incredible.
But it's just like, again, we're going back to this whole situation of like, now it's a different, they're different lineups again, different guys in and out, that no one's a closer at this point. It's back to the same conversations that we've had. Oh, and by the way, yes, Keon Ellis was DMP'd.
Yep. We talked about it at length yesterday, and I'm even more convinced that I don't think we're seeing Keon Ellis play another second of basketball for the Kings unless it's either garbage time or there's an injury that happened, which of course we're not rooting for. I don't think Keon will play again.
Did you hear Doug talk about it this morning on Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross?
We will listen to it and rehash it. But yeah, I mean, I understand his explanation. My takeaway from his conversation with Dave and Jason this morning was Doug. There's the two biggest areas of individual development for the Kings this season. One has been Dylan Cardwell.
Yeah.
The other one has been Doug Christie's coach speak. Because at the beginning of the season, he'd take the podium and he'd be like, I'm going to let it all out. I'm going to let it fly and say what I say. Now he talks about the standard all the time, and he's done a lot better job of learning the coach talk of how to say things, but not necessarily say everything you mean, but imply things that you mean. It's definitely an art form. So he's been getting coached up very, very well over there as part of the Kings organization. But yeah, we'll react to some of the things, of course, that Doug Christie had to say. The Kings were down by 9 points early in this game. Got off to a slow start. They rally back, led by Malik Monk, a fantastic first half. Zach LaVine also got off to another good start offensively. They rally back, build a 12-point lead. I think they led by 7 or 9 at halftime. I don't remember exactly.
But it was decent.
It was decent. Yeah, like they took control of the game, and it looked like, okay, they're going to do good. They were outscored 43-21 in the third quarter. A 22-point differential in the quarter. It's their second worst point differential in any quarter all season. They were minus 25 in the first quarter versus the Suns back on November 25th. But it was just a dreadful quarter. What's hilarious is a friend of ours from 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area, Guru responded to it. I tweeted at halftime, like, that was a good half of basketball for the Kings.
Yeah, I saw your tweet.
And Guru was like, not if you have the Raptors -5. And I said, Guru, relax. Let me tell you about Kings in third quarters.
Yeah.
They blew even that expectation out of the water. That was a dreadful third quarter that Doug Christie put the primary responsibility for that on himself after the game.
He did last night, and then he did again this morning on the morning show when asked about last night a little bit. And look, as a coach at this point, in a way, you kind of have to do that. And I know we're going to maybe hear from Dylan Cardwell as well, because he spoke after the game. By the way, Dylan Cardwell, I thought, again, played a really good game. I think he continues to show growth. And he's obviously getting the minutes, too, because Doug Christie believes in him, that when he's out there, he does good things. And he kind of made a comment after the game that, it was on them, the players, which I don't know if you can put that out completely of what he said or if we have the audio, but he had specifically talked about coming out of the half that they thought they were in a different type of defense. Do we have that?
Yeah, it looks like, I'm looking at the cuts on the screen over here. Kyle, are you able to fire away? Dylan Cardwell talking about the third quarter was on us. Yeah. It's the 6th clip if you want to fire that. Oh, Kyle's putting it together.
Yeah, but sorry to throw Kyle at that, but I just thought about that because it did stick out to me when you were saying Doug's like, hey, it's on me, and the players kind of like, Dylan's like, hey, that was kind of on us.
Yeah, that's always an interesting balance because when a lot of what's put on a coach is not having a group ready to go, and it's been a common issue for coaches in the past here in Sacramento of not starting the second half well.
Sure.
And that we put a lot of onus on coaches for like that. But at the same time, too, players don't need to be reminded at halftime, hey, you have another half of basketball to be played.
Right.
Like, lock in. You're playing well. You're not good. And this has been a problem with the Kings for a long time, not just this team.
So I've heard.
You're playing well. don't take your foot on the off the gas. You're not good enough to coast. You're not. Like, you're not a good enough team to coast. OKC may be able to coast for a quarter.
Right.
You cannot. If the Kings coast, they end up giving up 40 points in a quarter, and then it turns into a disaster. But here's Dylan Cardwell taking the ownership on the players.
Yeah, it's on us. Like, the coverages didn't change. Nothing changed at halftime. We didn't make any adjustments on purpose because we were doing well in the first half. And for some odd reason, as a unit, we just didn't buy in and we didn't lock in on that third quarter. There's a couple of plays where we didn't know if we were in a zone or if we were in man. And again, that's on us.
Yeah, sometimes just simplifying it speaks the most volumes. And what he said there, he's like, the game plan didn't change, nothing changed. It's not like Doug Christie went into halftime and said, all right, we're reinventing the wheel, we're changing everything that we were doing, and now execute something completely different. It's just keep doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
Keep the pressure on. And I remember Doug earlier in the season having a line like, sometimes we get bored doing the little things the right way.
Thing.
And look, I know when you say I'm giving 100% effort, I know I'm not always 100% locked into every second or every minute of this 4-hour radio show that we do together, Kayla. But you would think after a lot of this issue through half of an NBA season that these guys would recognize, hey, this is typically, like I called it on social media, this is typically an area where we have a lull. Hey guys, let's not let that happen. And I don't know if that's on, and Doug's putting that on me. He said I should have held them to that standard and we should have come out in the second half and I should have reminded everybody this has been a problem in the past, let's not do it. But also whether it's a veteran in that locker room, DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, whoever, hey guys, we've struggled with this in the past. We're in the driver's seat. We are in a good position to win this game. We got off to a slow start, bounced back, worked our way out of it. We're feeling good right now. Can we not just take our hands off the wheel or let go of the rope? Like, we know the Raptors are going to come out and try and do something. Basketball is a game of runs, but let's not just lay down for them to run all over us. And it's been a problem for this team all season.
Except for in that 4-game stretch. So I'm wondering, what in the world went on besides Dennis Schroeder not being able to play? I'm not putting on
Dennis
him.
tried to fight Luka.
Okay?
That's what happened.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, Matt, and it could have been the other teams that they played in that stretch weren't looking at them as top tier talent or top tier teams. Like, it's the lull of the season. Like, there's all those things you can throw out. But the point of this all is they won those games against good teams.
Yep.
And they looked different during that stretch. And it's like, what did you do differently in those 4 games when you went into the locker room at half and you were leading and you came out and still finished with the 2 quarters that you had left? It's just so crazy to me that there is just a flip-flop like that.
And I'm not, this has been a common occurrence with the Kings in the past. And to just sum it up with this, I think is an oversimplification because it's a lot of different factors. Mm-hmm. But this has been a trend with the Kings for decades. Mm-hmm. Who are those 4 wins against? Houston, LA, New York. 3 very established, very good teams in both the West and Eastern Conference. Now, to be fair, the 4th win was against the Washington Wizards, but out of those 4 games, the Washington game was the game that the Kings probably played the worst in. The Wizards are so bad that thankfully they were still able to win that game, or not thankfully if you're trying to tank. But no disrespect to Portland or Miami or Toronto, but it's a tier difference, and we know the Kings just play up to their level of competition. I think the Kings got off to a really strong start to this homestand. They were cruising, they were vibing a little bit, and 2 teams came in that have significant things to play for in the East. And I know the Raptors are a playoff team in the Eastern Conference. I'm not trying to disrespect them at all. They've been a really fun breakout story this season, but the Kings have a tendency to get up for bigger games against bigger competition. And, of course, that Lakers game, they just lost their boy because he tried to fight Luka Doncic. So there's an extra edge they're bringing to that game to beat Luka Doncic and the Lakers. Plus, the Lakers wiped the floor with them in L.A. a week before that. So we just see this team get up for certain matchups and not get up for others. That's been a problem in the past. And sometimes even going on a microscopic level, we'll see them get up for stretches of the game or get up for quarters and then not get up for the second half or not get up for the start of this quarter. Or it's just they take their foot off the gas or take their hands off the wheel. They don't stay dialed in. They're not good enough to do that, and good teams run over them during those lulls.
That's what's so hard and frustrating to be an outsider looking in, because you're not in the locker room at halftime to hear what Doug Christie says, even if he says anything, or what the players are talking about during that time. And it's like, this is a theme. It's always kind of been a thing, like you're even saying, it goes back further than this year, that there is that, okay, well, we expected that in the second half, or we expected that in the third quarter to put them out of contention to win this game. And it's like, is that a coaching thing, or is that just players just being not lazy? That's not the word I'm looking for, but just comfortable. It's just like at some point that has got to change.
Yeah.
That has got to change.
Yeah.
Not now, because we don't have the roster to probably have that change. But it's just, it can't keep being a thing where, the Kings do this.
Per usual, I left another Kings game with a little bit of confusion about Doug Christie's rotations. And this one in particular, nothing that he did surprised me necessarily.
Yeah.
But what I am confused about is why, in particular, and this does not have to be an anti-DeMar DeRozan or anti-Russell Westbrook thing. This is just a point. So a lot of people get up in arms because they like those players, and I'm not trying to make it an anti-them thing. But you had DeMar DeRozan play 33 minutes last night. He was a team worst minus 23. DeMar had a bad game. He's been playing really well as of late, and in my mind has been the best player for the Kings this season. Had a bad game last night. I'm not going to overreact to one bad game for DeMar.
No.
But DeMar played poorly pretty much the entire game, but still was able to play 33 minutes. Russell Westbrook played 34 minutes, was a minus 16. Russell Westbrook took 22 shots.
It did not look good.
I know last night was like a celebration of Russell Westbrook's career. Dude, you don't have to shoot the ball 22 times.
No.
But he's able to, it's Russell Westbrook, so he gets to play 34 minutes. Zach LaVine played the most minutes out of the Kings last night, 37 minutes. He was a minus 14. But this is the day after he was benched for when he was playing better offensively because he wasn't playing defense. I know in general, Russ and DeMar play more consistent defense than Zach LaVine. If Doug Christie were to say those two play more to the standard than LaVine does, I don't think he'd ever say that directly, but I would believe that. That being said, if there's a night where those two aren't rolling, why did they get the leash that Zach LaVine didn't get? And this is not like a argument in favor of Zach LaVine because I'm not impressed with Zach either. But that would frustrate me if I was a part of the team going, Russ and DeMar seemingly can't do no wrong because there's these two veterans with Hall of Fame caliber careers. No matter what they do, even if Russ got killed on defense a handful of times in the game.
Oh, yeah.
So did DeMar. So why did Zach get the axe or the hook the night before and those two just seemingly get a long leash? It's just something, I'm not trying to start anything, but it's just something that stood out to me last night.
It's a good question. And I'm actually, I love Russell Westbrook. I do. I love the way he plays. I like his mentality. I like the chip on the shoulder. Last night specifically, though, I was frustrated because I thought about the same thing. I'm going, okay, Russ does not look good. Like you said, he had some lapses on defense. He also had just some bad shot selections where I'm just like, okay, what are we doing here? We could in turn start having a little bit passing and giving the energy to the ball a little bit, but instead it's taking some bad shots. And I'm like, at some point when Doug is preaching we want this out there, and if we don't have that out there, those minutes are going to be taken away. And again, I understand they're the vets of the team, but Westbrook was also brought in here last minute. Yeah. He wasn't, the signing that they brought in here initially to have as their point guard. I mean, it's interesting sometimes. It's like they're setting the example most of the time, but for games like this, why couldn't you maybe limit those minutes a little if they're not doing what they need to do out there?
Let's end this first Kings segment in this initial Kings conversation. We're going to talk a lot of Kings today, don't worry. Let's end this first Kings segment with the positive note, though, which is, Dylan Cardwell. He just continues to give this fan base life in this. See, this is an absurd stat line for Dylan Cardwell last night. 2 points, a career high, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks. One of his blocks, Kayla, was a chase down block from behind that could have killed somebody in the second row. He swatted the you-know-what out of that basketball. Also had a steal in this game. And we can talk about Dylan Cardwell stealing the show on the court, and then he stole the show in his post-game press conference. There was Kyle, if you have it ready to go, there was Cardwell talking about, I think it's the 8th clip, on making it to the NBA and just about how, or maybe it's whatever clip it was, he was very open about, like, I'm not supposed to be here. And it's just someone that he reminds me of the common man who made the NBA and deserves to be there, but doesn't operate like he's supposed to be there. You know what we're going to do? We'll hit that when we come back really quick, right before we get Nick Wagner from ESPN on talking 49ers with us in the next segment. That's coming up next. We're just getting started here. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports.
Card collectors know there's nothing as special as a rare one-of-one card. And now you can hear a very rare one-of-a-kind sports card show right here on Sactown Sports. Whitey Gleason here inviting you to join me and Mr. True Sports Cards himself, Emran Pilati, for the True Sports Card Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sactown Sports. It's the only sports card radio show in the nation. For all your hobby needs, get to True Sports Cards, 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland. And for hobby, insight, and fun, join us for the True Sports Card Show Saturday mornings at 10 on Sactown Sports.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert. John Party. Chris Young. Turnpike Troubadours. Dylan Scott and more. Line dancing live DJs, Mechanical Bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram Center, and Fairfield in Cal Expo. More info at CITBfest.com.
Right now at Elk Grove Honda, you can lease a 2025 Accord Hybrid Sports Sedan for only $39.99 down, including first payment due at lease inception, excluding tax and license. 35 monthly payments of $299 plus tax, license, and zero security deposit on approved credit. Mileage in excess of $10,000 per year at 20 cents per mile. It really is the least you can do. We're Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or on the web at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
Sacramento's Outwork playlist is Mix 96. Now with 4 opportunities each weekday to be our $1,000 Employee of the Day. Today's hits and yesterday's favorites, Mix 96.
What's going on? We're talking to Chad Hoblit of Hoblit Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram in Woodland. What's happening, Chad, for the Start Something New sales event?
There's no better way to start the year than in a new 2026 Ram 1500 Crew Cab. And right now you can save up to $14,000 off MSRP or save thousands with 0% financing for 60 months and still get the $7,000 Hoblit discount.
Wow, I love that you still have 0% financing available and that you still get the Hoblit discount.
That's why Hoblit has won dozens of customer service awards, and as a 5th-generation dealer, when you buy from Hoblit, you become part of the family. You will not find a better combination of savings and selection with over 400 new Rams available.
Search, select, and save through the whole inventory at HoblitDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblit, period.
$14,000 total net savings on select new 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie after $7,000 factory rebates and $7,000 dealer discounts. Rebates include $2,000 select inventory cash on select inventory, $1,000 SFS bonus cash, must finance through Stellantis, and $500 on the job upfit, must show eligible upfit. 5 is net savings, see dealer for details.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It's the energy all around you.
Lightning and the thunder.
The thrill of the moments to come. The flash of lights. The rush of pure exhilaration. The roar of the crowd. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Sactown Sports 1140 fans, here's a win you don't want to miss with H&R Block. Join us for a ribbon-cutting grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce at the new H&R Block office in Folsom this Thursday, the 22nd, from 11 till 2 p.m. The first 150 guests score free tacos. Plus, you can enter to win gift baskets from local Folsom shops. And new clients filing at this location receive a special discount. Celebrate, win, and save at the new H&R Block in Folsom. A smart play for tax this year with H&R Block.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Looking forward to have ESPN's Nick Wagner from his great coverage of the San Francisco 49ers. Going to be joining us here any minute from now. Lots to talk about with the what's next for this Niners team because they're in such an interesting spot to where they're not bad. They're not approaching being bad.
Mm-hmm.
There are still hefty and lofty expectations for that franchise, not just because of the fan base's expectations, but the internal expectations. They are looking to not rebuild. They are looking to simply retool. But also, I think they're probably going to work hard to try and figure out, one, which of the guys that were hurt are going to come back and still be able to play at a super high level to ultimately get us back to the Super Bowl, and two, what in the hell are we doing as an organization that's causing all these injuries that we need to stop next season? I think the Niners have paid their injury bill. Look, the Niners don't deserve to have anything more than bumps and bruises next season. They've paid enough, Kayla.
They have, and I think that is made clear, and maybe we'll get into it with Nick about the electrical facility. Like, they're going to check everything in the offseason. So we'll have to wait and see what comes out of it, but hopefully they can get that problem solved in the future.
Joining us right now from ESPN, does a phenomenal job covering the San Francisco 49ers. He is now at I'd like to say the exhale part of the season where it's come to an end. But Nick, I have a feeling this is going to be a very busy, interesting offseason for you as we try and figure out what big decisions and what directions the San Francisco 49ers organization is going to go in. Pleasure having you on the show, Nick. How are you doing?
Well, how are you two?
We're good. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's a little bit of an exhale, but with Super Bowl coming to Levi's in a couple weeks, I will be right back hitting the ground running here very shortly. So,
regardless of if the Niners are in it or not, Nick is hard at work. Well, Nick, what did you make before we jump into the even the current and then the future? What did you make of not just how the season ended in Seattle with that beatdown at the hands of the Seahawks, but just the journey, the roller coaster that the Niners went on and took us all on this season with all of the adversity they faced, overcoming so much adversity. The general response that I felt we got from Niner Nation was, yeah, we're disappointed we were eliminated by the Seahawks from the playoffs, but hey, man, we probably weren't even supposed to be here based off of the circumstances that the Niners went through. How crazy of a ride has this been just for you to cover it on a daily basis?
Yeah, it was unexpected. And I mean, I don't think the Niners would sit here and pretend like it wasn't. I mean, I had a conversation with Christian McCaffrey just a couple weeks before the season ended. I think it was going into the wild card game. And he said, if you'd have told anybody, including people in this locker room, that we'd be 12-5 and going into a wild card game and had a chance to get the 1 seed, nobody would have believed you. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how it was viewed. But, this was supposed to be a reset year. And, I wrote a story about it back when they played the Rams in week 5 about how it was kind of following what the Rams did a few years ago when they did a roster reset. And it went better than they expected, but they did a kind of a more natural progression where they started off slow and got better as the year went on. But the Niners were pretty consistent all year. And you heard Kyle Shanahan talking about it yesterday, how meaningful it was to him that they never lost 2 games in a row the whole year, which when you have a young team and you have so many moving parts, that's pretty unusual because you're going to expect to hit kind of peaks and valleys. So definitely one of the better coaching jobs I've seen. But I would say, guys, this is the year of the coach in the NFL. I look around at the playoffs, and I think all these teams are pretty evenly matched. There's not one dominant team, but the one common thread among the teams still standing is really good coaching, and I think that applied to the 49ers too.
ESPN NFL reporter Nick Wagner, kind enough to join us on the Matt and Kayla Show this morning. A press conference yesterday, obviously with John Lynch and head coach Kyle Shanahan. There is so much to take from that. What was the biggest thing for you, though, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger picture for me is always the more interesting thing, and I think it kind of relates to what Matt just asked, which is where is this team right now in kind of its window? And the way the Niners view the way they build is in 3-year cycles, and this was the first year of a new cycle. And people always want to talk about, is the Super Bowl window closed? Is it open? Whatever. Well, you could say that the window on the previous window closed, I suppose. But I think they opened a new one. And I think it was interesting to hear them talk about, we're in a position now where we can be a little more aggressive. Part of that is because they're moving on from Brandon Aiyuk and they're going to save money that way. But also, I think they're in a position that they are further along than maybe they expected to be. And so I expect them to be pretty aggressive this offseason. And I thought there were some hints that were dropped to that end yesterday from Lynch and Shanahan. So there's obviously a lot of factors and variables within that on the roster, but in terms of the big picture, I thought that was the most interesting thing.
Do you have any sense at all, or did you get any sense of the confidence level between Shanahan and Lynch and just the 49ers organization in general in their big names who dealt with pretty serious injuries this season coming back and continuing to be those big names, from Fred Warner, who may have been playing this week, to, Bosa suffering the injury he suffered. George Kittle's going to be out for a while because of his torn Achilles or the injury he suffered. But do the Niners feel like when George Kittle comes back, it's still going to be George Kittle? When Bosa comes back, it's still going to be Bosa?
Matt, it's a great question, and I do think there's confidence in that only because they've seen these guys do it. But I also thought it was very interesting, John Lynch, and it was kind of a throwaway line, but he mentioned something about how, kind of alluding to the fact that they need to start finding more stars, finding kind of the next nucleus of guys. And that's something I've kind of been hammering on the last few years, which is, you knew what this nucleus was. You knew when you had, Bosa, Warner, Kittle, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, these are your guys, but those guys are either coming off of an injury or getting up there in age. McCaffrey obviously just had a huge workload. Trent Williams is going to be 38. And then the other three are all coming off of significant injuries. So I think that's kind of part of the calculus as they go into this offseason is like, yes, we can't, we do believe these guys can get back to who they've been, or at least a reasonable facsimile of it. But also we need to start finding kind of the big guys who will be the next nucleus that we're building around, the next group of foundational players. And that's why I think kind of tying back into the answer from earlier, they're going to be a little more aggressive this offseason than people might have expected.
Nick Wagner, ESPN NFL reporter for the 49ers, joining us. You mentioned Brandon Aiyuk. It's been an ongoing saga. It looks like it is slowly coming to a close. I know John Lynch mentioned he probably played his last snap for us. Are you surprised at all with how this all ended, or did you see this coming with everything that has happened in the past?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty good idea, I'd say, right around when he got injured in 2024, a couple of years ago, that this wasn't going to go well. I knew that the 49ers kind of had immediate buyer's remorse on that contract. And that's why it's always interesting, because people say, well, yeah, in retrospect, they should have traded him, but that's hindsight. And it's like, no, it's not hindsight. They were trying to trade him. Like they wanted to do that. Brandon Aiyuk nixed trades to New England and Cleveland that could have netted the 49ers something close to what they wanted to get for him. And then the Pittsburgh deal, they were ready to make. And Brandon Aiyuk signed the contract last minute. So, excuse me. I think if you just kind of look at the big picture here, this was always going to kind of end this way. It's obviously ended in a little stranger fashion than most people would expect. And, just to hear Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch say, we don't really even know what's going on here. And I can tell you guys from conversations I've had with people in that building behind the scenes, they really don't. Like, there's not a lot of explanation for this. And so that's why you hear Kyle Shanahan say, I've never seen anything like this in 22 years.
Well, Nick, the draft is important every year for obvious reasons. Not the hottest of takes here on this end. Good job, Matt. But for the Niners in particular, they have their first round, second round, third round pick, 3 fourth round picks, their fifth round pick. How much do you think they are looking to the draft to? We know we've got some star power. Like you said, they might want to keep an eye out on the market to bring in more star power if they can. But they also just need some bodies to add depth and fill some of the gaps. How much do you think how they approach this draft and how hard they're going to attack this draft for not necessarily win now talent, because we're talking about rookies, but guys that are going to be able to plug in right away and fill some of those holes?
Yeah, man, I think the one thing they need to really be trying to do this year is, instead of being so focused on filling specific needs, which I think they've tended to kind of drift more towards a needs-based drafting team over the last few years, as opposed to their early years when, they were just building a team. So they were just taking the best players. And that's how you find the George Kittles of the world, right, in the fifth round. And, Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, that kind of thing. I think they're going to have to go back to that. I think they're going to have to try, like I said, they need star power, because I think the last couple of drafts, you have found some good players, complementary players, but they need to get back to finding those stars, those guys that they can build around. And it doesn't necessarily matter what position it is. And I think we could sit here and argue too, Matt, that if you look at the roster, they have needs pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So if they can find a star player at just about any position, I think that's a good thing, right? So if that means taking a safety earlier than you would want to, but that guy's markedly better than the next available, let's say, defensive end, then pull the trigger and do it. So I'm interested to see if that's their approach, but I think it kind of has to be as you start kind of looking toward the future of what is life going to be like after the George Kittles and the Trent Williams and those guys move on.
Nick, one thing they don't really need to fill right now is the quarterback position. I mean, they've got Brock Purdy, and we saw what Mac Jones this year did when he was asked to step up. And I really think he rejuvenated maybe his career as possibly a starter, because there's teams that always want a starter in this league. Do you think they do anything with him if they can get something for him that's worth it?
Yeah, I think so. And Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch gave their best sales pitch yesterday without giving the sales pitch, right? We're not basically saying without saying we're not going to give this guy away. And my understanding is there's both sides kind of know what the deal is here, that there's going to be probably plenty of quarterback needy teams and not nearly enough supply, and that's going to put them in a position where they can get something. But let's just frame it logically here. They're going to have to get something better than a third-round pick for Mac Jones to deal with him, because if they keep him and he leaves next year in free agency, presumably to a pretty sizable deal, they're going to get a comp pick in the third round for him. So that's kind of the cutoff point of what they would take to get him. I think it's going to have to be closer to an early day 2 pick. My understanding is both sides are on the same page. They talked about this at Mac Jones' exit meeting, and he knows kind of what the deal is. And I think they're also they really appreciate what he's done for them, and I think they will give him some say if there's kind of multiple teams offering something similar. He's going to want a new contract wherever he goes also. So that's part of this as well. But I would be maybe counter to what Kyle Shanahan said yesterday, even though I think it was kind of a nudge, wink, wink situation. I think I'd be surprised if he is on the team next year. Certainly wouldn't be a bad thing, but I think they're going to get plenty of offers on him this offseason.
Final thing for you, Nick. Thank you so much for taking your time. Nick Wagner with us, ESPN writer and 49ers reporter. Really appreciate it. I know it's a good thing to have. You're doing something right when the league is plucking coaching talent from you, it seems, year after year after year. But how tired do you think is Kyle Shanahan of having his defensive coordinators taken out from underneath him? Robert Saleh going to the Tennessee Titans now. I'm sure Kyle's happy for him, but Kyle's having to fill that position every year. It's like a Harry Potter defensive against the dark arts position at this point.
I don't necessarily know what that means, but I'm going to take your word for it, Matt.
I'm a nerd.
But I think, it's funny you say it, though, because I asked Kyle Shanahan yesterday, how much would you like to have some continuity at defensive coordinator? Because this is going to be 5 in 5 years for them. And some of that is guys getting plucked. Some of that is guys that didn't work out and they moved on from them. But he kind of jokingly, I don't even know how jokingly it was, he said, my wife would really like me to get some continuity so we can go on vacation instead of having to stick around for a few weeks after the season ends because we got to hire a defensive coordinator. But I think when you look at the position and the reason that part of the reason that you're hearing Gus Bradley's name so kind of strongly connected to the job is that Gus Bradley is a guy he's done everything there is in the league. He's been a head coach a couple of times. He's at a point in his career where he probably would like to settle in a little bit, and the Niners can maybe get some continuity with him where he's around for a couple of years while also simultaneously developing some of these younger coaches. I look at KJ Wright, the assistant linebackers coach, and does defensive quality control as someone who could be developed as a candidate. Daniel Bullock, who's their secondary coach, could be developed as a candidate. So I think that is definitely something they would like to have here is a little bit more continuity. It's not, like you said, Matt, it's not a bad thing that people want to poach your coaches, particularly if you're getting comp picks, as the Niners have been able to do. But at the same time, I think that, at least Fred Warner and those guys who've been around would like to have a steady, calming voice who's around a little bit longer than a year or two.
Nick's going to shove me into a locker before coming back on this show after that Harry Potter reference, but we appreciate.
At least he was honest. He's like,
I don't know what that
man.
means, idiot.
No offense intended. I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to take your word for it. If you've got some sort of wizardry going on, the last thing I want to do is try to stuff you into a locker because you'll probably send me to Narnia or something. Is that a reference that makes sense here? I don't know.
I would be insulted, but I don't think I can be. I got a full arm sleeve tattoo from Lord of the Rings, Nick. So this is what you're dealing with here. Although George Kittle's on my side. George Kittle's a huge Lord of the Rings guy too, so I take that as a compliment. So
you could do worse. You could definitely do a lot worse. For
Nick,
sure.
You're amazing, man. Thank you for making the time. Keep up the great hustle. Have fun covering the Super Bowl if we don't talk to you before then, or maybe even see you down there. Great work this season, and hopefully we can do this again very soon.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Nick's awesome. We're going to break. When we come back, more on the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey is a finalist for MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year. First time in NFL history something like that has happened. We'll talk about it coming up next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Come in and check out Macy's this weekend for new active sets to keep up with your New Year's goals. There are so many great pieces in the store, and the deals are incredible. Like head-to-toe men's and women's looks from Adidas, Champion, and more, all for $50 and under. So head into the store and walk out with great deals on new active and so much more starting tomorrow at Macy's. Savings off select prices. Exclusions apply.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Join Sactown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In-Shape Fitness Kings Rally towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
When value matters, Elk Grove Chevrolet delivers. Right now, purchase a 2026 Chevrolet Silverado for $4,500 off. The Silverado 1500 stands out with legendary towing power, a bold new design, and the dependability you expect from Chevy. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com for full details. Don't miss your chance to drive the new Chevrolet Silverado. Stop by Elk Grove Chevrolet today and experience quality that goes the distance.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Kyle's got a lot of tropical vacation vibe going on.
I know. This reminds me of Miami.
You going somewhere? You got a beach in mind?
I actually do down the line. I was. That's funny. Maybe this was a subconscious thing. I was putting in my vacation time yesterday for
Nice.
down the line. I'm going to Hawaii for a wedding.
Okay.
So.
Ooh-wee.
Well, I can promise you there are probably a handful of 49ers players on a beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Because their season has come to an end. One of them might be Christian McCaffrey, who certainly earned it. Because, boy, was he a workhorse this year. It's amazing. It's truly amazing with all the injuries that the Niners dealt with that Christian McCaffrey was not one of them. But
yeah, I suck. Everyone else on the team scored, except for me.
Well, he certainly does not suck, and the NFL is giving him the recognition that he deserves. He is a finalist for the NFL MVP award, along with Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, and Matthew Stafford. I think it's probably Stafford's award to win, but
Trevor Lawrence.
I know it's important.
Look at Trevor with a little comeback.
No, Christian McCaffrey, obviously the only non-quarterback there. And then he is also a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year. Makes sense. He did basically everything except throw the football. And he's also a finalist for Comeback Player of the Year. And apparently, that's the first time in NFL history that someone has been nominated or a finalist for all three of those awards at the same time. Just speaks to the absurd season that Christian McCaffrey had, and he put up great numbers, and it looks awesome in the record books. I promise you, though, I don't think Christian will want to have to do that again.
No, and I don't think he needs to do that again. Again, they were working with nothing this year. because of all the injuries. And while most of those injuries came on defense for the Niners, there were still plenty of guys in and out of the lineup on the offensive side of the ball. And it's crazy when you look at the numbers, you guys, because the rushing stats, he rushed obviously for over 1,000 yards, 1,202. But then you look at the receiving yards, and it's crazy to see that he almost had 1,000 yards receiving too. He was at 924 receiving yards this season. He averaged like 9.1 yards per throw. And it's just, or per catch, I should say. It's insane to know that that's as big of a workhorse as he is as a running back. It was almost more so as a receiver for them this year. But the biggest part is that he stayed healthy when being utilized this much. And that's just not something we've seen from Christian in the past. There's always been bumps and bruises.
I don't think he's winning the MVP award. But Offensive Player of the Year and Comeback Player of the Year, how much do you like his odds for winning those awards? Drake May is also a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence is a finalist for Comeback Player of the Year. Does he go 0 for 3?
I think it's hard because this is always a quarterback-driven league, and we see it with most of the awards. The running backs usually get kind of, I don't want to say the word, but whatted in this situation. Yep. And I think, if anything, honestly, the Comeback Player of the Year, I could maybe see going his way. But again, they always are going to give the nod to the quarterback, and they probably see Trevor Lawrence's story and with Liam Cohen coming in there and kind of reviving his career a little bit. But I'd give it to McCaffrey because I don't think anybody expected him to stay healthy with this amount of work this year and help this offense stay alive to the playoffs.
Yeah, in a sense, it's almost like it's not fair necessarily, and it's kind of backhanded to say, but getting the recognition or the honor of being nominated or being a finalist is almost like that's supposed to be good enough. For if you're not a quarterback and you get nominated as a finalist, it's like that's your recognition. Yeah. You had a really, really good season, so you're amongst this group. You're probably not going to win, but hey, you're there, right? And like Christian McCaffrey, I felt had a much better MVP case the year that the Niners made it to the Super Bowl with how amazing he was that year. That was just him just being good. This year was being as good as he was out of just pure desperation because the Niners just needed to give him the ball 1,000 times. I think Christian's probably going 0 for 3. I don't know how much he truly cares about it. He'd much rather be playing during NFL Honors Week and not sitting there on a red carpet collecting an award. But still, just a sensational season that McCaffrey just keeps doing these things where it's like, I don't know if we'll ever see that again. Well, I don't know if we're ever going to see that again. I don't know if we're ever going to see that again. I don't know if we'll ever see a season like McCaffrey did last season again.
And I think it's just an appreciation as an NFL fan, not just as a Niners fan, but, that he has been able to rejuvenate his career. Because I will say, when he was in Charlotte and he had those injuries that kind of looked like could have derailed his career, I was even skeptical when he was traded to the Niners how much he could really do for this team and stay healthy. He still battled through injuries through seasons, but he's been such a valuable part of this team. And I think that is something to completely nod your hat at if you're an NFL fan in general.
If I were making a case for of these 3 awards, which one he has the best chance of winning or deserves to win the most, like it's hard not to say Offensive Player of the Year because of everything he did on the offensive end. But Comeback Player of the Year is such a narrative-based award. And it's crazy to think how it's like LeBron James winning Most Improved Player. It's like, really, like how does Christian McCaffrey, as good as he's been, how do you get like a Comeback Player of the Year award? But with all the injuries that he's dealt with in this injury-riddled season for his team, to stay healthy and to put up the numbers that he put up, despite the being banged up as much as he has been over the last year and some change, at least before this season, there is a good narrative there for him to get that comeback award.
It's like you overcome the odds of the Niners injury plague. You overcome the electrical station that surrounds your practice facility. I am Christian McCaffrey, Comeback Player of the Year.
Well, regardless, if he wins the award or not, just a sensational season for him. In terms of the NFL MVP, is it Matt Stafford? Or does
list
Drake,
him again real quick?
So Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, Matt Stafford, Christian McCaffrey. It's either Drake May or Matt Stafford, right?
It's probably Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
And Drake May's had a heck of a season. But I just feel like the league loves Matthew Stafford. he keeps on like finding ways to survive year after year, even though he's old as you know what. And if they get to the Super Bowl, I know that it's kind of a regular season award, but I just feel like that's the guy that they're going to put on the platter for the award this year.
Kyle Shanahan is a finalist for Coach of the Year. He deserves to win it for so many reasons. He's not going to.
Because Vrabel, baby.
Well, you heard Diana Rossini say, I wish I could take my vote. And she loves Vrabel, but she's like, Kyle kind of deserved it.
Between Vrabel and Ben Johnson, even Liam Cohen, I don't know, like Mike McDonald, like there's good cases for a lot of these coaches. Kyle Shanahan deserves it for everything that he went through. But again, I think there's just always this perpetual expectation of Kyle Shanahan teams are supposed to be good. And it's a regular season award, but it's like you'll never win it until you actually win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's the one hurdle that Shanahan has not been able to get over. And until he gets over that hurdle, I don't think he'll get any like recognition beyond he's a really good coach because he hasn't gotten there.
It's like the more and more we talk about how great he is and how great of a coach, the more and more it's unlikely for him to actually win these awards until, like you said, he gets to that point, because those are the grand expectations, because Kyle is known as such a great head coach.
But by the way, just as a reference point, Jackson Smith-Njigba, heavy favorite for the offensive player.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and he deserves it. He was unbelievable. There's also like Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, like Christian McCaffrey doesn't have. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have a chance, but Jackson Smith-Njigba had an insane season as a wide receiver, so he absolutely deserves it. Just looking through some of the other awards, seeing if there's anything else Niners related. Certainly. Oh, would you be shocked to learn that there's no Raiders anywhere on this list? No? Okay.
I'm so shocked, man.
Coach of the Year, Pete Carroll?
Rookie of the Year next year.
They should do like worst coach of the year and like teams that disappointed the most. Wouldn't that be great? We should do our awards every year for like the worst
NFL not so good awards. We'll do that.
And
we'll
give
do our
them
own
like a toilet bowl or something.
Oh man,
that'd be fun.
It's just going to be all Raiders.
Whatever the award is, just give it to Geno Smith.
There's plenty of Titans.
If it's bad, just give it to Geno Smith. Most interceptions, Geno Smith.
By the way, Christian McCaffrey minus 700 for comeback player of the year.
Oh,
he's the heavy favorite.
See?
So narratives matter. Narratives matter, man, and the narrative of him battling back is certainly pretty significant. I'm really excited about this next segment because we're going to have one of the greatest national NBA writers on the planet, period, joining us on the show. Marc Spears joins us at 11:15, and he's going to talk about, he was at the Kings game last night. He'll give his opinions on this wild Kings season, the upcoming trade deadline, which is 2 weeks away. I'm sure he'll weigh in on Jonathan Kuminga, Giannis Antetokounmpo, John Morant, and more. It's all coming up next. Plus, we still have to hear a little bit from Dylan Cardwell. That's all to start the second hour of the show right here on Sactown Sports.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
At Elk Grove Honda, you can drive a 2025 Accord Hybrid Sport and enjoy a tradition begun with the first Accord in 1976. Ask about the least you can do. We're Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
Sactown Sports 1140 fans, here's a win you don't want to miss with H&R Block. Join us for a ribbon-cutting grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce at the new H&R Block office in Folsom this Thursday, the 22nd, from 11 till 2 p.m. The first 150 guests score free tacos. Plus, you can enter to win gift baskets from local Folsom shops. And new clients filing at this location receive a special discount. Celebrate, win, and save at the new H&R Block in Folsom. A smart play for tax this year with H&R Block.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140.
Ivan kick. Mamu for three. It's no good. Westbrook gets his first rebound of the evening. Trying to build on a 10-point lead. Circle move, sets up the alley-oop, and a Stellan Cardwell steers it down. Races back up the floor to play defense. Loving it, applauding that left hand who finished that one off.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
If I'm not mistaken, that play in the first half gave the Kings their largest lead of the game, which was a 12-point lead. And then the third quarter happened, and it all went away. Kings lose to the Raptors 122-109. They're now 12-33 on the season. But let's focus on happier things. And a happier thing is one Dylan Cardwell, who
Beam Man signing off.
His stat line last night was ridiculous. 2 points, 13 rebounds, career high, 3 assists, 4 blocks, 1 steal. And we didn't get to hear from him too much in the first hour, so we're going to do that now because if you can nail a post-game press conference, Dylan Cardwell did because he's just so likable. He's so relatable. He's the common man who's made his NBA dream come true but never was supposed to be there, and he made sure to emphasize that after last night's win or loss.
Outside of the will of God, I would not be here in the NBA. Like I say, you look on a stat sheet, I didn't wow people, in college. I averaged 5 points per game. I rebounded the ball 5 times per game. I averaged like 1.6 blocks per game. No one thought I was an NBA player, and I'm not supposed to be here, but God. And so every time I get on that court, it's just an opportunity to showcase, my God-given abilities and have fun with it and continue to be a joy. Because at the end of the day, I'm living my childhood dream. This is something I prayed about since I was, 5 or 6 years old. I remember watching, LeBron James and the Miami Heat and the 2012 and the 2012 and 2011 NBA Finals, and just telling my mom like I want to be there. I want to be not like LeBron, but I want to be in the NBA, and just to pray about that every single day, and to get that. It's just a dream come true, and I don't think I'll ever take this game for granted because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not supposed to be here. And yeah, I put this jersey on every single day, and I have a blast doing it because this is something I've dreamed about since I was a kid. And so you'll see that childlike joy every time I step on that court because, like I said, this is a dream come true for me, and at any moment it can be taken away. But I just love playing basketball. I love accomplishing and living the dream and having fun, and having Max and Neek and Precious out there with me, being the Beam Boys, you couldn't ask for a better group of guys. Coming into this process, you hear a lot about how the NBA is just, business is cutthroat. It's, your teammates are more individualized and they're worried about themselves. But, we might not be having a great season, but this is the best locker room I've really been a part of outside of my last year at Auburn. Everybody from Russell Westbrook to Drew Eubanks who wants to see you succeed. Drew got not benched, but Drew stopped playing as much, and he's the happiest guy on the bench. He still takes time to out of his day to come tell me, hey, you could have done this better, you could have done that better. And so everybody is a part of this team, whether we're successful or not, and no one is spiteful, no one is unprofessional, and I really appreciate being on this team, being in this locker room.
Dylan Cardwell was one of 3 players last night that had a positive plus-minus. Another one was Kings rookie Neek Clifford. The final one was Dennis Schroeder. Everyone else minuses. Dylan, I mean, the joy that he plays with. You talk about like, I'm not supposed to be here. No, but you belong here.
Mm-hmm.
You belong here because you've worked your butt off. And the biggest compliment that I've given Dylan in the past, I'll continue to give him, and I hope I have the opportunity to give it to him in like over just talking to him on this show. And we're working on it. We're working on getting Dylan on the show. Is how confident he is in himself and how he knows exactly who he is as an NBA player. Because that's not always easy for a rookie to do. Is like you come into the league and it's like, okay, in the draft they said like I needed to be better at this and this is a weakness in my game, so I got to work on this and improve my overall game. And yes, you do. You always want to improve, but there's a reason why you got here. You had a skill or skills that got you here, and Dylan plays within those skills. He plays to that level, so much so that you can now look at the future of the Sacramento Kings and go, why can't Dylan Cardwell be your backup center for years upon years upon years to come? Why can't Dylan Cardwell be what Mitchell Robinson is to the New York Knicks? Why can't Dylan Cardwell be what Tyson Chandler was for so many years with the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns, right? Like, that rim protecting, rim running, energy glue guy center, and he gets up the floor quick, Kayla, for being 6'11". That is so valuable and has been lacking in Sacramento, Kayla, for seemingly decades, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan has definitely been the feel-good story right now in Sacramento. And I think sometimes people are giving those who are falling in love with this guy a hard time too, because they're like, well, let's just pump our brakes a little because this is Dylan Cardwell. Like, nobody else is really like capturing our attention right now. He makes us smile, but like, really long-term, what can this guy be? And I would say, look, this guy deserves a chance to be part of this team in the future, because right now he is being given the opportunity when guys like Domantas Sabonis have gone down. And by the way, he's on a 2-way contract and he continues to get the call and get minutes. There's a reason for that. It's not just because he's making the Sacramento Kings fans feel good. Mm-hmm. It's not because he's throwing his hands up or giving the Spidey movements after a celebration. It's because he's earning his way on the floor. Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned it's hard to do that no matter what. He was an undrafted free agent. You listen to him give you the stats of what he had at Auburn under a really good coach in Bruce Pearl and a really good program. And it's not like that's something where maybe he even expected to play that much this year, but he's doing it, and he's doing it in a room full of veterans. That's kind of makes it awkward in its own right, because he just mentioned a guy like, Drew Eubanks is getting benched, but he's getting words of advice from Drew Eubanks, and he's not stepping back and saying, oh, I feel kind of weird. I'm around all these. No, he's going out there and he's saying, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm going to earn my way on this floor. We're not talking about him being a starting center for the Kings right now. We're talking about him being a guy that could be a big piece, a glue piece here in the future if he continues to build on what he's doing.
Well, that is something that the Kings have been able to be pretty consistent with this year, despite how rough it has been. Is we have had no inclination of like divisiveness in the locker room or guys not liking each other. Like the support seems to be there. Every single player who at one point has gotten DNP'd or benched is up and cheering. Even Domantas Sabonis, when he was not playing towards the end of the last the Miami Heat game, was up rooting for Dylan Cardwell. To when Malik Monk wasn't playing, he was up and active and cheering. Keon Ellis, who's not playing right now, you don't see him hanging his head and pouting over there. So they have built, and Doug Christie has built and established at least good culture in that sense. Ultimately, you have to win basketball games. Sure. It's not like, oh, that's good enough. Yeah. But at least that's not there compared to last season when the Kings locker room was basically like a junior high school, and it got just really ugly and really uncomfortable. And
were things getting out?
Yeah,
frustrations with
players.
Yes,
things were getting out. There was clear divisiveness. Whose side were you on? Yep. DeMar DeRozan was very open, saying like he's never experienced anything like this in his NBA career before what he went through last season with the Sacramento Kings. Hey, bud, welcome to Sacramento. Yeah. Get comfortable. Or don't, because maybe you're going to be traded in the next 14 days. True. But I admire the Kings for being able to at least keep that unit together. And here's another area where the Kings as an organization, they've been a dumpster fire. They've been a laughingstock. They've been low-hanging fruit in terms of basketball for a while. But what the Sacramento Kings have done really well, there has not been a better organization in terms of managing two-way contracts since its inception than the Sacramento Kings. From Neemias Queta, who's now the starting center for the Boston Celtics, to the success story that is Keon Ellis, and it might have a bad ending here in Sacramento with him being traded away, but Keon was a total success story. Now to Dylan Cardwell getting this opportunity. Players are intentionally choosing Sacramento to be a part of that program because they feel they're going to get opportunities. And it's a positive reflection on you as an organization that you're either able to, one, find talent, and two, develop talent to become a full contract player. And it's only a matter of time before Dylan gets that full contract.
Yeah, I would say we're waiting, right? We're just like, okay, it's going to happen anytime soon. Going back to the development real quick, because you heard the numbers, the numbers of what he averaged in points, rebounds, blocks, whatever, when he was at Auburn. And you're seeing what he's doing here right now. And you could be saying, well, he's playing on a team that's not winning games. Well, I don't care. He's doing this. Like, this is him going out here doing this against good teams. Like, what is he supposed to sit back and, like, not put up numbers?
Yep.
So I'm going to say there has been development here from an outsider looking in. Do we give that credit to a Doug Christie? Where do we give that credit? Do we give that credit all to Dylan for just, working every day in practice or whatever, learning from the vets? It's an interesting situation too, because there has been development.
Yeah. Dylan does get, and by the way, Marc Spears is going to be joining us here in about 5 minutes, so stay tuned for that. We're really excited about that. Well, maybe we'll ask Marc about Dylan Cardwell too, and what his impression is of the charismatic, entertaining young center here in Sacramento. But, Dylan absolutely deserves a ton of credit for, like we talked about earlier, knowing who he is and playing to his strengths. I think Doug Christie, especially recently, deserves a lot of credit for it. It would have been so easy for Dylan to be buried with Domantas Sabonis returning.
Yeah.
So easy. And I know Domas didn't play last night because of injury management. I think that speaks to, it could be twofold. One part is the Kings are being precautious. He had a knee injury. It's not like they're playing super meaningful basketball right now. Domas, take your time. It's the second night of a back-to-back. There's no reason to push it. The other part is, hey, we're not exactly trying to win basketball games right now, so Domas, take your time, right? We're not naive to that either. But, Domas coming back could have easily been, Dylan, you did a great job. Back to Stockton with you, buddy, and we only have a certain amount of days that we can suit you up as a two-way player. But to me, Doug has recognized the development that both Dylan and Max have shown and what they've earned, and rewarded them with continuing to make an effort, whether it's going to a 10-man rotation. But the Kings are making a very clear effort to reward them and keep them out there on the floor. And as much as we want to say prioritize the development of the young guys, that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, it is. And I think there are still some questions of, okay, these are clearly their guys, right? Scott Perry's guys that we're talking about, Dylan Cardwell and Nick Clifford and Renault. But what about, some of the guys that are just sitting there, like a Keon Ellis, like a Devin Carter, where it's like those are younger guys too, but they're just sitting there. Like, why aren't they even getting a nod at given a chance to get developed in a situation where you're going to have pretty much a losing season? And I just come to the realization pretty much like that's just not their future. And I think that is what it is at this point, right?
Yeah, well, I'm very excited for this. Marc Spears from ESPN, senior NBA writer, also from Anscape, and he's, of course, a basketball Hall of Famer. One of my favorite memories from going and covering my only All-Star weekend that I covered in Salt Lake City was being able to be in the room when Marc was announced as one of the members that was going to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame that year. Marc, I know that was a big day for you. It was a pleasure to be at least a small part of that myself, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. How are you?
Man, you got a good memory.
Come on now. I saw my boy up there on stage. I was like, I gotta take a mental screenshot.
You know what? The thing I laugh about that was it was cool. I think I was sitting next to Vince Carter too, because he was had just gotten 100 or something like that. But my wife was running late, and somebody from the Hall of Fame was trying to get her in. I think she sat down like 2 minutes before everything started, man. And I'm like trying to get my head right. I knew I had to go up there and say something. Is she gonna make it or not? She ended up making it. So
Marc gave a great speech. He got emotional. It was a fun moment, my friend, and I was happy to be there to be able to celebrate with you for that. And of course, the work hasn't stopped for you. You've continued to hustle over the years since that time, while the Sacramento Kings have unfortunately moved in the wrong direction, culminating into this, whatever this season is for the Kings. First off, before we dive into the weeds of everything, what do you make from just the surface level what this season has been? One of the most talented rosters the Kings have ever had in terms of name value, but one of the worst seasons in the history of Sacramento, Marc.
Well, first, can I give some condolences to Scott Perry? I'm not sure if you guys know this. His mother recently passed away.
Oh.
And so Scott took an early flight out this morning to Detroit. His mother, Maxine, will be laid to rest on Saturday in Detroit. No. So, Scott's going to be away from the team for a couple of days. Amazing lady. She was a journalist. And obviously, the story of his father, his late father, who worked for the Steelers as a scout, was the first African-American scout in NFL history. Assistant coach. In NFL history, and certainly why he's connected to the Steelers like he is. But, first of all, shout out to or condolences to Scott, man, and Kim and their family. And just kind of going back to Scott, I talked to Vivek and for a quick minute yesterday, and I think with Scott, there's a foundation being built, right? And when you bring in a new general manager, a lot of times there's going to be some growing pains. So, yes, I think you're right. There is a lot of talent there. But then there's this mix of, like, trying to bring the youth up, right, the youth movement. Then, you got to mention Domas being injured, right, and just ravaged by injuries. And Keegan, I don't even know that when's the last time Keegan played? Right?
Been a few weeks.
Yeah. And so, the best thing a team could be is healthy. And so when you have two starters like that missing this high amount of games with some new additions, some guys relatively new, I just think it's really hard to succeed because you just haven't had any unity, camaraderie. How many different starting lineups have they had? And then it's like, let's Maxine right now is not bad. Let's check him out. Let's check out some of these young guys. So I think that those two major injuries have had a huge impact on a lot of the lack of success. But I do think that with Scott, and I've known Scott for 30 years. I first met him, and Matt, I'm rambling on, so tell me when to shut up.
Please go away.
Yeah, no, Scott was, believe it or not, a head coach at Eastern Kentucky University. And about a year or two before I started covering the NBA, one of my jobs was I was a writer for the Courier in Louisville, Kentucky, and my job was as a general assignment reporter was to be generally assigned to do whatever the hell they wanted me to do. And one of my assignments was to write a story on this coach named Scott Perry, who had the saddest office I've ever seen in my life. And it just had 4 white walls with nothing on it. Nothing said short time or more than this guy's office, right? But now in his office now, he has this beautiful painting that his wife got made for him, where it lists his 6 principles as to, what he wants from the franchise. And I expect him to make some moves, try at least to make some moves during the trade deadline. I think this is going to be a slow build, which I don't know if Kings fans want to hear this, but in order to have a strong house, you have to have a strong foundation. And to me, just putting Band-Aids on the team, getting the play in, maybe getting a late seed, I think the Kings could have continued to do that. But I think Scott would rather build a foundation and try to build this into a championship contender rather than somebody that just teases you from season to season.
We've got the great Marc Spears on. We're talking NBA. We're talking Sacramento Kings. Marc, you had mentioned your relationship with Scott Perry. I know you talk with, GMs every single week. There's been this long kind of storyline here of Keon Ellis not getting time, DMPs, all of that stuff. How much does sometimes come down to a new general manager coming into an organization and simply kind of knowing what their types are and knowing what they're going to do in terms of building their future?
Well, Scott ain't coaching the team.
Yeah.
I know he's high on Keon, and that to me is a Doug Christie decision whether or not Keon plays. But it's interesting because when I hear the trade talk and you constantly hear that name, right? How sold am I on Keon? I've got to see a little bit more of him. I know he's a fan favorite. I know the fans there love him and think highly of him. I know his story, and but I just think right now it's, especially when you're trying to win, when you're coaching that position, you're probably gonna lean on a lot of the veterans a lot more, right? You're gonna lean on Zach. You're gonna lean on Russ, and it's certainly unfortunate for him. But then I guess you got to ask yourself, is he better than the vets that are playing in front of him? And so that's probably the question to be answered there. And I'm not sure that he is. I'm not sure that he isn't, but when you're in a tough spot like the Kings are, sometimes you go with the vets that you trust rather than the young guys still trying to figure it out.
Marc, you alluded to earlier, Marc Spears, senior NBA writer for ESPN and Anscape, joining us here on Matt and Kayla. You alluded to earlier the Kings would like to make some moves and hopefully some...
Man. Wait. Shout out to you. And one thing that bothers me about sports radio is there's not enough, women that are involved in these shows.
Yeah.
And the fact that you added Kayla on this show, I think that's fantastic. Kayla, keep rising. I want to see more of you on these airways, and not just the male perspective on this. And so shout out to you and the hoops you've gone through to be in this position.
Marc, she carries me, Marc. She's doing all the heavy lifting. I'm just here to get us in and out of breaks. She's the substance of the show.
Because if you look at Bay Area sports, there's no women on the airwaves.
Yeah.
It's truly sad. So I'm glad to hear your voice, but continue. I'm sorry.
Appreciate you, Marc.
Thank you, Marc. Well, she and I are both chomping at the bit. Kayla and I are both chomping at the bit to see what kind of trades that that the Sacramento Kings may make or Scott Perry may be able to make. It sounds like there is a significant interest around Keon Ellis for around the league for Keon in a potential trade, but we know that there are some veterans on this roster, like a DeMar DeRozan potentially, that the Sacramento Kings are shopping or trying to move on from just to start this rebuild and free up some playing time for some of the younger guys. Have you heard any rumblings or have any kind of indication of guys who are more likely to be moved, less likely to be moved?
Well, the name I keep wondering about with Sacramento is the sexy name, right? Jonathan Kuminga.
Yep.
And then if you're a Kings fan, right, you see Kuminga come in and score 20 and 19 minutes. Yeah. You're like, come on, Scott. Figure this out, man, because you can imagine him and Keegan next to each other in terms of building these pieces for the future. When you build those pieces for the future, obviously you got to trade some vets to make that happen. And if the Warriors, if I might be wrong, put your stat guy on this, I don't think the Warriors and the Kings have made a trade since '92.
It's been a while, I can tell you that much. I don't know about the specific date.
With the last trade, Mitch, for Billy Owens, and which worked out for the Kings, and I actually thought Billy Owens was going to be a superstar. I was wrong. But Mitch certainly was, and but I just think that if it's up to Kuminga, he would love to be in Sacramento. And when you're going through a rebuilding phase, like Sacramento is, you want players that want to be there. You want players that are excited to be there. You want players that want to like the beam, not just, you know.
Uh-oh, did we lose Marc? Marc is Marc. Oh, we got you.
Can you hear me?
I got you. We got you back.
Yeah. No, I mean, Kuminga's a guy you want because he's also a guy that wants to be there. And it's, you know, when you're rebuilding, it's hard to find players that want to be in rebuilding situations. He wants to be there. Scott had met with him in Miami for like an hour and a half. I'm still kind of intrigued by the Warriors allowing that to happen. And they built a really interesting connection. And, you know, I've been around Kuminga since his days, you know, playing for the G League Ignite. He's a great kid, man. He's not a kid. He's a man. He got 2 daughters. Great young man. I think he's a big coach. I don't know what the disconnect is. I'm trying to figure it out. Might need to get Sherlock Holmes involved to figure this out. But, I mean, it's just like, I guess, a bad fit for the Warriors. But he makes things happen on the floor. He's young, still going to grow. And the question now is with Jimmy Butler being lost, would it make sense for the Warriors to try to go bigger? Like before, it was like Malik Monk, but they're loaded with guards. I don't think they need another guard. They need big. They need a small forward now. And I just think that they're at the point of no return with Kuminga. Like, he doesn't want to be there. He certainly would prefer to be moved. He's going to be a professional. But I don't think there's any kumbaya in this. So I wonder if the Warriors, who are going to, like, use these next couple of weeks before the, February 5th, 6th deadline to push a button and see what the best trade is out there. To me, like, DeRozan would make sense. The Warriors have not wanted to, like, add salary beyond this year, but if Jimmy's going to be out the rest of this year, and who knows how long next season, like, to me, you could plug and play a guy like DeRozan in and still have a competitive team, potentially make some moves. I do get the sense that they want to make the best of Stephen Curry's remaining years. So I don't think that keeping disgruntled Kuminga is going to make that happen. I really think whether it's DeRozan, whether it's Michael Porter Jr., whether it's, you know, somebody from Dallas or Wiggins, like, they got to do something. They got to do something with Kuminga. But keep an eye on whether Scott and the Warriors can, you know, kind of figure that out. And I'll tell you what, Kuminga would be so happy he might walk down 80 to Sacramento to get there.
Great NBA writer Marc Spears joining us on the Matt and Kayla Show. You know, you brought up DeMar DeRozan's name, and man, I love this guy. He's such a pro. He's been so consistent for the Kings. I just know he's not probably on the long-term, you know, future list here, but why are we not seeing other teams right now have interest in him, or is that just the landscape of, you know, what's going on right now in the NBA?
I guess we'll see, right? We'll have, you know, 2 weeks in which we'll see who really loves somebody, right? This is where the truth is told in these next couple of weeks. And I'm with you on DeMar. He's a pro. He shows up every night. He plays hard. Is he the greatest defender in the world? Maybe not. Maybe that might be part of the knock on him. Certainly he's getting older, but he's available. He doesn't miss a lot of games. I'm a big fan of his as a person too. Just a great guy, and he's going to go in your locker room and be professional and want to win. I think he enjoys being in California. He's a solid pickup for the Kings, but it just, you know, obviously things haven't quite worked out of franchise, and he has hoped. And to me, when you have assets like Levine and Sabonis and DeRozan, and I think you should, you know, I don't know if Scott could master a major overhaul in a 2-week span. But if there's young players and assets to be gained, I say push the button and go do it. You know, if you could get Kuminga, go do it. If there's some other young talent and picks to receive, go do it. And hey, you guys have your pick, right? 26?
They got all of them. They own all their picks.
I mean, this is an amazing draft, not just 1, 2, 3, and 4, but, you know, going down to 10. So, I mean, I'm not saying to tank, but this could be another great draft to get a young player. So if you got a Reynaud and Keegan and a Kuminga and, you know, another young player out of what's going to be is an amazing draft, and who knows, you might go around and get 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like, you start building yourself like Oklahoma City has done and like Detroit has done. And like those are the teams that I think the Kings should pattern themselves after. And I think that's what Scott's trying to do. So I'm really, really curious to see if there's not just one, but maybe a couple interesting splashes by the Kings by the time the trade deadline hits.
Marc, you are the definition of hustle, my man. You bounce all over the country, including being in Sacramento for the game last night, my man. Thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck wherever you're heading next. I hope we can make this a regular occurrence, and let's do this again soon.
Yeah, no, I'm on my way to Kendall Jackson.
Winery.
By Dave. Well, I'm a wine ambassador for Kendall Jackson, so I'm going to meet with some folks there. I'm doing a Zoom with LSU students. Got my master's at LSU at 1. Up Santa Rosa, JC's at 3:30. So
man, I tell you, he's hustling. Well, Marc, we'll let you go and get to it, and hopefully we'll see you very, very soon. Have a great one, and good luck the next of the season. Until next time.
All right, now y'all take care.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Marc.
What a treat having Marc Spears here on the airwaves with us. Some very interesting stuff to take away from that. We will react to that. Plus, we'll talk about some of these veterans that may or may not be traded, and what do the Kings do if they're not traded. That's all still to come right here on Sactown Sports.
What's up, Sactown Sports 1140 fans? It's your boy, Alan Stiles, and I'm here to tell you about a win during tax season that you do not want to miss. Yes, the words win and tax season did just go together. You know why? Because you can join us for an awesome ribbon-cutting grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce at the new H&R Block in Folsom. The first 150 guests score free tacos. Free tacos. You heard that correctly. Plus, you can enter to win gift baskets from local Folsom shops that everyone loves. Raffle and tacos? Man, where do I sign up? But that's not all. New clients filing at this location receive a special discount. Not to mention, I'll be out there, so you know it's going to be a great time. This is your chance to celebrate, win, and most importantly, save at the brand new H&R Block in Folsom. It's a smart play for you, a smart play for your wallet, and a smart play for your taxes. We'll see you there.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Right now at Elk Grove Honda, you can lease a 2025 Accord hybrid sports sedan for only $39.99 down, including first payment due at lease inception, excluding tax and license. 35 monthly payments of $299 plus tax, license, and zero security deposit on approved credit. Mileage in excess of $10,000 per year at 20 cents per mile. It really is the least you can do. We're Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or on the web at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Sometimes you need country music. Next time you have that feeling, check out New Country 105.1 KNCI, where you have 4 opportunities each weekday to win $1,000 and double your paycheck. New Country for Sacramento, 105.1 KNCI.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It's the energy all around you.
Lightning and the thunder.
The thrill of the moments to come. The flash of lights. The rush of pure exhilaration. The roar of the crowd. See it, hear it, feel it.
Feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
What a treat that was to have Marc Spears on from ESPN. And hopefully we're working to make sure that can become more of a regular occurrence here. And we were talking during the break, what's so great about Marc is, I mean, he's so well plugged in, has relationships all over this league, but he's a storyteller. And he knows what the stories are, and to be able to have that for any amount of time on this radio show has been pretty awesome. We're less than 2 weeks in.
I know.
Marc Spears, Steve Wise, Rossini last night. Like we're
plugging away.
We're cooking.
We are cooking.
We are cooking. We've been very blessed with all the I mean, even Nick Wagner earlier today. And if you missed that conversation with Nick about the 49ers, very thankful for our friends just around the media industry that have been not just supportive of us starting this show, but being a part of this show.
Wow, look at Matt George sliding Deuce Mason again.
Who?
Wow.
I don't know who that is. Oh, that's the guy that was like that caller that we just let stay here for like 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, didn't he used to work here?
I don't think so.
He used to work in this time slot, I think. Yeah, well, that was the dark days, and now we're in the light, right?
He had that weird background on his.
Oh no, that's the guy that works with Mo. That's who he is. Yeah, Morgan Reagan. And,
Morgan, that
and
cool
the other
girl.
and the other guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Deuce.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yes,
I never heard of him, but as long as
Deuce is great. We love Deuce. Deuce has been on
They're
the show.
awesome.
We have so many friends that have been on the show already. So many friends that have yet to be on the show and are like, "Yo, where's our invite?" We're getting them. We'll get
not all of you, but some of you.
Most of you. Most of you. This is a friendly show. That's not a word. A lot of what Marc said on that conversation that we had with him was very interesting. Of course, weighing in on the Kuminga situation. Kuminga wants to come to Sacramento. We knew that, but Marc really emphasized, no, he really
he said he'd walk
wants
up here.
to come to. He'd walk up 80 to be a part of Sacramento. I thought his comments on DeMar DeRozan were interesting. He's like, yeah, DeMar's a pro. There should be interest in DeMar around the league. And he basically, he said, Warriors, in my opinion, DeMar would make a lot of sense for the Warriors as a guy to go out and get for a temporary. No one's looking at DeMar as a long-term fix to anything.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler are a one-to-one comparison in terms of talent. We know Jimmy's a much better defender than DeMar is. But if the Warriors want to compete and plug someone into that spot, DeMar DeRozan makes a lot of sense, and seems like Marc is on the same page with that.
I think so too. And it just feels like the only two that are really teams right now that are really interested in doing business that involves Jonathan Kuminga is the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors. And it's I know they have not done a trade since, what was the date again?
Is it did you say 93?
It was 1991. I have it right here.
First of all, that's insane. That's crazy.
On November 1st, 1991, the Golden State Warriors traded Les Jepson, Mitch Richmond, and a 1995 second-round pick to the Sacramento Kings for the number 3 pick in the 1991 draft, Billy Owens.
Well, that trade turned out pretty darn good for the Kings.
Yeah, and it's about time. We're in 2026 now. So, hey, it's about time to do some sort of trade that kind of makes sense. And you're right. DeMar DeRozan, the defense isn't there. He's a little older. Look, you can't be picky right now when your teams, especially if you're trying to get rid of a guy so bad like Kuminga. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting, and like Marc said, we'll see here. Now we've got, 2 weeks. This is when the real things start to happen.
What do you make of Marc's comments about Keon Ellis? And I'll read for you the quote, what he said verbatim about Keon Ellis. He said, we asked him about Keon Ellis not playing, and Marc said, Scott Perry ain't coaching the team. I know he's high on Keon, Scott. That, to me, is a Doug Christie decision. So Marc making it very clear, he thinks the reason why Keon Ellis is not playing and not part of the future of the Kings is not a Scott Perry thing. That's a Doug Christie thing.
First of all, I thought I screwed up on my question. First, I've never met Marc, right? Yeah. And he's so gracious to take his time, and that really made me feel good about the comment of being a woman on the airwaves. I don't take that lightly at all. But when I asked Marc that at first, I was like, oh, dang, Kayla, did I hit a sensitive button here? But then I realized he was answering the question about as honest as he at least could answer it for himself. And it was like he believes that, Perry is not out completely on a guy like Keon Ellis, and this is probably maybe a roster lineup type of situation. Again, whether that is the logjam we're dealing with, maybe Keon is on this team in the future, and we see him play once, all of the logjam is unplugged, but it made it seem a little bit like this was more of a coaching decision. Again, he's not in the locker room seeing these things, but that was just from his perspective I thought was interesting.
Yeah, Scott Perry has come on these airwaves before and talked about the value that he has for Keon and the appreciation that he has for Keon. And I don't necessarily doubt that the Kings as an organization don't see the value in Keon. I just think the biggest value for Keon to this organization is how they can use him to ultimately sweeten a trade to get what they need to get done across the finish line. Like if they really want Jonathan Kuminga, how do we use Keon Ellis to make that trade happen? If we really want to move on from Zach LaVine, for example, how do we use Keon Ellis to make that happen? So I don't think that Doug Christie doesn't like Keon. I don't think that front office doesn't like Keon. I think there's differences of opinion of how important Keon is to the future or should be to the future going forward. I think there's probably maybe a good feeling that I don't know if Keon would want to even re-sign here at this point, so we have to get some kind of value for him. Yeah. That's how my stance has changed on Keon, and it's dehumanizing him a little bit. But at this point, Keon offers the most as a trade asset to the Kings than as a player. Maybe it shouldn't have been that way, but the Kings kind of made it that way with how they've handled him over the course of this season.
Yeah, I think if anything, and again, we wait to see what happens, if anything, I do feel like they have managed the relationship, at least what we're seeing, as good as they can manage it. Because again, we're not seeing Keon pouting on the bench. We're not seeing or hearing from him random things that have leaked in the media. Like, things have been at least surface level. It seems to be okay right now. And whether or not that changes when he leaves, we'll see when that happens. But I guess at least you give from the management perspective all of this, the optics of it, at least you see that there's not a lot of like, hey, I'm pouting over here, I want out, type of thing.
What will the Kings do with their veterans if they aren't traded? We talked about Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan yesterday. Coming up next, we'll talk about Domantas Sabonis, Russell Westbrook, and Dennis Schroeder. That's all coming up here on Matt and Kayla, Sactown Sports.
What's up, Sactown Sports 1140 fans? It's your boy, Alan Stiles, and I'm here to tell you about a win during tax season that you do not want to miss. Yes, the words win and tax season did just go together. You know why? Because you can join us for an awesome ribbon-cutting grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce at the new H&R Block in Folsom. The first 150 guests score free tacos. Free tacos. You heard that correctly. Plus, you can enter to win gift baskets from local Folsom shops that everyone loves. Raffle and tacos? Man, where do I sign up? But that's not all. New clients filing at this location receive a special discount. Not to mention, I'll be out there, so you know it's going to be a great time. This is your chance to celebrate, win, and most importantly, save at the brand new H&R Block in Folsom. It's a smart play for you, a smart play for your wallet, and a smart play for your taxes. We'll see you there.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at
This Sactown Sports 49ers report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. 49ers season comes to a close in Seattle on Saturday, losing 41-6. San Francisco playing without all pros George Kittle, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa, and the injuries proved to be too much to overcome. San Francisco finishes the year 13-6. As for Seattle, they advanced to the conference championship game, where they will take on LA, who defeated Chicago in overtime 20-17. Catch that game right here on Sactown Sports beginning at 3.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert, John Party, Chris Young, Turnpike Troubadours, Dylan Scott, and more. Line dancing, live DJs, mechanical bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park, May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram Center, and Fairfield in Cal Expo. More info at CITBfest.com.
At InShape, there's a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, walker, runner, sauna seeker, recoverer. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
And it's been a big day on Sactown Sports 1140. The morning show having both Sam Amick and Sacramento Kings head coach Doug Christie on this morning. And then we just had Marc Spears from ESPN on with us. You can catch all of that if you missed it on SactownSports.com or on the Sactown Sports YouTube channel. Check it out there, although do it after the show or during a commercial so you don't miss anything going on. In the next segment, we are, of course, going to have our lunch break segment where you can call in and you can weigh in on anything Marc said. You want to talk Niners, you want to talk Kings, you want to whatever. Trade deadline is 14 days away. That is your time to call in. But also during next segment, Kayla, we're going to react to some of the things that Doug said this morning, some of the things that we heard Sam Amick say this morning. There's a lot of still great Kings talk coming, but we expect, or we're hoping, bare minimum, Kayla, one of this group of veterans will be on the move at the trade deadline or before the trade deadline in 14 days. We asked the question amongst the media last night, like, were there any Kings that played last night that we saw them play their last home game as a King? Because the Kings, they go on a 6-game road trip.
The long one.
Their next game back is February 4th. The day before the deadline. So that's their next home game. So there might be, everyone's still here, but it's weird vibes because they might be gone tomorrow. Of course. So we don't know. But I said this about Keon Ellis, and I'll reiterate this point, and I'll just say it in general for the Kings. If Keon Ellis is still a part of this team, I think that means they weren't able to, bare minimum, flip him for a draft pick, and they weren't able to attach him to a DeMar DeRozan or somebody else in order to make those trades. If the Kings still have this roster intact or only really make fringe moves by our show on February 6th, there was a failure. And I think that the front office knows that. Regardless of how difficult the trade landscape is, some of these guys got to be on the move, at least.
I think that is really the expectation, and not only for the organization, but for the fans. For us who talk about the Kings every single day, we would eventually like to move off of having similar conversations with the roster, with the lineup, whatever it is on a game-to-game basis. But I don't know if that will change if there is not at least one piece moved. I think we're going to see something happen, but you never know. And the biggest question is, Matt, is like, if there is not a piece moved and we still have these veterans that we're seeing playing heavy minutes, does Doug Christie shift that mindset of eventually, if this didn't work out, I've got to start playing way more of my younger guys because now no one's been moved. The expectation somebody was supposed to be moved. Does that shift the way that he coaches and what he does on an everyday night?
I would think in theory it would be, right? But if you're Scott Perry, you're also like, let me help my head coach out a little bit and let me make it easier for him to make that transition by getting rid of, we've heard over and over again, the log jam at the guard position, Okay, if Keon's really not going to play, then yeah, move on from Keon so we don't have to worry about this Keon versus Malik Monk conversation. Or like if it's Neat Clifford doesn't get as much playing time because we had to play both Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan a certain amount of minutes. Like, free one of those up. Do your coach a favor and don't just dump these guys for nothing, but move on. You're not getting the best player in any of these deals, period. You're not. So don't, and I think Scott Perry fully understands that he's not looking for an upgrade right now.
Right.
He's simply looking for draft assets, young players, shorter contracts that expire soon, or guys that maybe fit those 6 pillars better and that vision better for the team going forward. But make the job easier for your head coach and get at least one of these guys out of here and help them out too, because I think a lot of these guys, not that they don't want to be here necessarily, but I think DeMar DeRozan would much rather be playing meaningful basketball than being stuck on the Sacramento Kings for the rest of this year.
I would think so too. And again, he's in his latter part of his playing days. And the thing that just is the obvious thing for me is the trade with the Warriors. Like, there's nothing else that really makes more sense.
Just get it done.
And that's the thing. It's like, how long? Obviously, they've been working on things in terms of maybe making something work ever since before the season started. I think there's definitely more probably pushback and stubbornness on the Warriors side of things, if you ask me, because that's how they present themselves. They've not presented themselves as being, we're going to work. They don't even work with their own player.
Yeah, it's no meet us halfway. It's meet us all the way.
So it's almost like it's on them.
Yep.
And are they going to budge? I don't know. I wish I knew the answer to that. But at some point, you think they got to help themselves too.
Yeah. I'm curious how you feel about this because I wrestle with this internally. I admire, from the start of this Jonathan Kuminga saga specifically, I admire Scott Perry's approach to this. I know Kuminga's value, or at least I believe I know Kuminga's value. You're not getting top value for him. I know the pressure is on you being the Golden State Warriors, to find a trade that makes sense or to maximize Steph Curry right now. This is what it is. I'm not budging. And during the summer, it was maybe willing to include a first-round pick with protections. Now it's first-round picks off the table. Like, the times have changed. We're a really, really bad basketball team. Our first-round picks are extremely valuable, and Kuminga's value has gone down. Like, we're not budging. I admire that, whether we want to call it stubbornness or just good negotiations, that you're not bending to the whim of the almighty Golden State Warriors. But the other part of that is what we just talked about. You got to get something done. So is it worth sticking to your guns and walking out of the trade deadline with no changes, or is it worth who's going to be the first one to fold? I feel like this has just been a long game of chicken between Dunleavy Jr. and Scott Perry.
It really is. And it's like, who's going to lose in the end? I don't know. But I do wonder, the wrench thrown in all of this is clearly the Jimmy Butler injury.
Yes.
And I do truly want to know what their kind of concentration is now of either fixing things with Kuminga because, oh goodness, we just got to use you right now, or if it's just like something where they're still steadfast trying to get him out of here and now trying to find somebody who could replace Jimmy because we just don't like Kuminga that much.
Yeah.
That's where I'm so curious as to really what they think about that and if it makes anything different from how they would work with Scott Perry and the Kings.
Before we wrap up this segment and get to our lunch break segment, 3 veterans that are on this roster now that I do expect to be on the roster by the end of the trade deadline are Domantas Sabonis, Russell Westbrook, and Dennis Schroeder. Although I think Schroeder, there's maybe a chance that out of left field a Schroeder trade happens. And we talked about when the Malik Monk information came out that they're not shopping him as aggressively. Maybe it's because they're pivoting to Schroeder because his contract is easier to move. If Dennis Schroeder is still on this team this year for the rest of the season, fine. I think the Kings are going to aggressively try to shop him this offseason when there's only 2 years left on that deal, and the final year is only, I think, $4 or $5 million guaranteed. Russell Westbrook, this is going to be a conversation for another day, but I know they love Russell Westbrook here.
Mm-hmm.
Does Russ want to re-sign? Will he have a market anywhere else? And 2, would the Sacramento Kings be at all interested in bringing him back because of his leadership and the way that he plays? Domantas Sabonis, though, I do believe, Kayla, and sort of put you in kind of a speed answer to this question because we're up against it here, but I do think there is a feeling that right now you can start the rebuild and have Domantas Sabonis be a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't think the Kings are opposed to that idea, and I'd say that's a likelihood at this point.
I think it's a good point that you just made. I think there is questions. Could we see him and Reynaud kind of work together?
Yep.
We didn't get to see it long enough
Yep.
before, the knee thing he was put on the bench for a minute for the knee.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see if that's given a chance where that can go.
Well, let's hear from Doug Christie, head coach of the Sacramento Kings, and Sam Amick. Both of them were on the morning show. We'll react to some of the biggest things they said coming up next in the lunch break segment. We're halfway through the show here. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SactownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
Designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
Windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541. This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
KHD-1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
So now we're talking. Coming back with a little Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now you're speaking my language. Earth, Wind, and Fire was a phenomenal concert. They did a concert at the Golden One Center years ago. Oh, so much fun. There was nobody sitting down during that concert. Like, a lot of concerts, people stand and dance the entire time. Like, there was not a person sitting down during the Earth, Wind, and Fire concert.
Is it still the original band, or have...
I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. Okay. I just know Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I know their music, and I love it, but I would assume so, but I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe Fire is still with us, but Earth and Wind have passed on.
No clue. Genuinely, no clue. But I love their music. They will live forever in my heart. So, the ratings of this show are about to plummet because Kayla Anderson is not with me at the moment. She is downstairs. She'll be right back. Don't worry. We haven't gotten rid of Kayla or anything like that. Wouldn't get rid of the star of the show. She's downstairs because here's like a woe is me moment, right? Like, feel bad for us who have this wonderful job that get to talk about sports and cover sports for a living. Kayla, we're in the midday slot, and the midday slot, like if you have at your business or at your company or whatever. Look at this. Kayla's back with
this
tacos.
Is a true lunch break, and guess I have to tell you who saved the day just now.
Oh no, who's okay? Well, let me reset what's going on here, and then we'll hear who saved the day. So. Everybody, if you work in any kind of corporate business, you know that typically big meetings and everything happen in the middle of the day when almost everybody is around. Well, that includes our all-staff meetings here at Bonneville, Sacramento. The entire company is here to meet, and they're having tacos downstairs and talking about all the great things for this year. But not us. Oh, no, we're still plugging away here on our live radio show. But Kayla ran downstairs, and she's back up with tacos.
Tacos!
And it's our lunch break segment, which means you can call in, 916-339-1140, 800-920-1140. You want to weigh in on anything Kings? You want to weigh in on Keon Ellis, what Marc Spears had to say in our conversation with him earlier? Now is the time to do so. But, Kayla, who saved the day with the tacos?
Okay, so... again, we had like a few minutes to get down there. And so when you're rushing out of the studio, our first thing is we're just going to bring up plates. So I forgot my key card. And I'm still new, so I'm not in the key card mode yet.
Oh, yeah.
And so I forgot to bring my key card, and I get all the plate, and I'm, doing my waitress thing coming up here, and then I realize I don't have my key card. And so I'm banging on the door. I'm like, maybe someone will hear me. Because we have to go in one door and then our studio's another door.
A super secret wing.
Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, I got to go down and just ask Jose, because Jose, our boss, our big boss, is down there. But as I'm going down, guess who's walking out of the studio where everybody is?
Is it a Sactown Sports employee?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay.
We give him a lot of credit on the airwaves.
Well, it can't be Frankie then.
No.
Is it Carmichael
Yeah,
Dave?
there we are.
Leave it to Dave to not be at the meeting.
He just walked out, and I go, "Oh, Dave, do you have your key card?" And he goes, "Oh,
yeah, of course.
Fine, Kayla. Where's your key card at?"
I go take a shower at the airport.
So he saved the day.
All right, shout out Dave. That's the only credit you get on this show.
Yeah,
Good for you. Thanks for
enough.
giving me my co-host back, so I wasn't scared and alone on the airwaves. This morning, speaking of Carmichael Dave and the wonderful Jason Ross had Doug, Christie, and Sam AI on their shows. Or their show this morning. And, of course, Doug's conversation was what everybody was tuned in for. And let's go through some of the things that Doug Christie had to say. And I think pretty much the main takeaway from what Doug talked about was, of course, this focus on developing the youth. But there's kind of a but in there.
The first thing I would say is cannot mistake on the youth. So we have to develop them. We're going to live with their mistakes. We're going to make sure that they're out there. And I think that you've seen that. The object, obviously, is to win the game. And ultimately, in my opinion, and I think that this is also, I shouldn't say I think, this is Scott's as well, is that the standard winning is the byproduct of playing to that. And I would agree. Any professional organization that has a winning culture and is sustained winning has pillars that allow them to say, this is who we are and this is what we do. And that's where with the veterans and the different things, it's a mismatch sometimes of trying to find who's going to bring that energy, who's going to play, really hard, who's going to be on the defensive end, who's going to rebound the basketball. And that's where the rotations can sometimes get tricky. But with our young players, we're going to make sure that they get out there. There's no better way for them to develop than being thrown in the deep end of the water and telling them that they have to swim. Still supporting them, making sure that they're developed, player development-wise, going over things, showing them video, all of that. And it's a beautiful thing also to watch them develop in front of your eyes. They're going to have, ups and downs, and we understand that. But the whole point is to develop them and support them along their journey at the same time as trying to win volume.
So my takeaway from that answer from Doug is that it's not one or the other. It's not we either try and win basketball games or we develop the youth. What Doug is essentially saying, or at least what I interpreted what he was saying is, like, the young guys are going to develop because they're playing to the standard, but playing to the standard should result in us being competitive and winning basketball games. Mm-hmm. So what that makes me think is that Doug, and he mentioned, like, Scott feels the same way, they feel that playing Dylan Cardwell, playing Maxime Reynaud, playing Neat Clifford, as long as those guys are developing before our eyes like the way that we've seen, and as long as they're playing to the standard, they should be a part of us potentially winning basketball games. Right. It's not a full youth movement tank versus full veteran movement try to win.
And is that more complicated to manage as a head coach? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's way more difficult to manage, like, starting to develop the youth and giving them opportunities to help you win games. And then also, knowing that you have veterans like DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook on your roster, because we're still asking the question sometimes with them, like, why so many minutes? But yeah, it's one of those things that I agree with Doug on the fact that you have to continue to put those guys out there, and they should start to help you win games. We did see that in a 4-game stretch because all of those guys that he had mentioned, these younger guys, did help win some of those games. Now, we've gone backwards a little, and those guys are still playing, and we can go into whatever reason why.
Sure.
But I think the task for Doug that he has to continue to, keep his mind set on is exactly what he said. We have to keep developing these young players, allowing them to let them play the minutes, and hopefully that will turn into wins here and there. Is it going to turn into another 4-game win streak? Probably not. But I think that he will continue to kind of grow as a coach to allowing his team to organically go in that direction.
Yeah, I think organically is the right word there, because I feel like coming into this season, it was, we're going to try to win and hopefully the young guys develop. Now I feel like we're going to get the young guys to develop and hopefully we win. And again, it doesn't have to necessarily be one or the other. And Kayla, you know, because you were talking me off the ledge a little bit about just they're winning too much. Oh my God, they're winning too much. Tankathon standings, their draft lottery odds, blah, 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 blah. It's a lot easier for me to stomach, hey, the Sacramento Kings are winning basketball games because Max and Dylan are playing well. Nick Clifford is starting to really score. Maybe we start to see this in the second half of the season. If Keegan Murray were playing and he's leading the Kings in scoring on a nightly basis and they're winning games because of it, maybe it hurts your draft lottery odds, but the guys that you actually can see being part of your future, those are the ones leading the charge. The losses, or rather the wins, when it's DeMar playing 41 minutes and Russ leading the Kings in scoring and shot attempts, those don't do anything for me.
Right.
But at the very least, those games are competitive to where Dylan Cardwell is playing meaningful minutes and Maxime Renaud and Nick Clifford are playing meaningful minutes. So I think that's what Doug is essentially talking about here. He's just trying to find that balance of, we're going to develop these young guys. We're going to give them the playing time that they need. But they're not just going to play garbage time minutes or for a trash team where nothing matters. They're going to be competitive, and we need to balance the veterans in order for that to happen.
And it helps always for these young guys to be around some of these veterans and to have them out on the floor with them. You can't just have all these young guys the entire season. It's going to help their development, too, to have pros like DeMar and Russ.
Let's pause from what Doug was saying really quick. Let's get back to the phones really quick during our lunch break segment. The smell of those tacos is brutal right now.
I hope your plate is good.
It looks great. We're going to go to commercial soon so I can eat this thing. But we got Freddy on the line who's calling in during the lunch break. Freddy, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Yep, that's good. I just want to piggyback off of what you guys were saying. I definitely think that Maxime and Dylan Cardwell both have taken a leap this season that in my personal opinion, is good enough to where I think it's time for us to move off of Sabonis. Like I was saying, I think, injuries, they happen. They're unfortunate, but I think this season definitely, with Sabonis' contract, it makes all the sense in the world to move off of him. I do think we should give Keon Ellis an opportunity to shine somewhere else. And for no other reason, I just think that we should keep DeMar for the end of this season, for exactly what you guys just said. You cannot have a team full of just always a 6-7-man rotation of rookies. You do need some veteran experience on the floor, and I think DeMar and Westbrook would be the perfect veterans to keep at least for the end of this season. As far as next season goes, obviously DeMar is a competitor. He wants to be on a winning team, and Doug Christie and Scott Perry especially will make that happen. But I think, like you guys just said, for the rest of this season, keep DeMar, keep Westbrook, move off of Sabonis. We love him, but, we got to do what we got to do. Give Keon Ellis a chance to shine somewhere else. And like you just said, get Dylan Cardwell and Maxime in here full time, and we'll see where it takes us.
Freddie, let me ask you a follow-up question really quick, if you don't mind, because I hear what you're saying about trading Sabonis, and it sounds like there are some teams with some loose interest in Sabonis, including the Raptors, who the Kings played last night, and the Kings didn't showcase him at all, being out with injury management. But Freddie, I don't believe Sabonis is going to be moved more because of his contract than anything else. So how would you like to see, if Sabonis is still here after the trade deadline, how would you like to see or want to see the Kings use him or utilize him for the remainder of this season in a way that doesn't hurt Dylan and Max's minutes?
Well, I think if you were to do that, like you said earlier at the beginning of your show, you're probably going to have to get Keegan back at the 3. He's, like you guys said, he's a lot more comfortable in that position, which, I think we're all completely on board with. It'll actually, moving him to the 3 will actually give the Kings more size between the 4 and the 5. So I believe that, if that does happen, obviously I wouldn't expect Sabonis to come off the bench. No way. So I think you would probably have to give play the 4. If you can give him that opportunity, great. And unfortunately, that might end up affecting Precious Achiuwa's minutes, but I would say that's the best way to go about it.
Freddie, great call. Thank you so much for your insight. I think
it's a great call.
It's the right way to go. And it's no disrespect to Precious, because Precious has been playing really well and been a good story for the Kings as well. He might be someone that the Kings look to bring back next year if they can. But if you're looking for someone to take the hit and lose their minutes a little bit when Sabonis comes back so that Dillon and Max still play. I think Precious makes the most sense in that, way.
The hard decisions sometimes you got to make as a head coach because you don't want to be like, hey, you haven't done anything for us. He certainly has done great things for them in terms of being a guy that was on his couch eating potato chips, probably not doing that. But, he was ready to go and outgrew expectations of kind of what was for him at least to start the season here.
Well, speaking of playing time, we just had Marc Spears on, and Marc talked about why is Keon Ellis not playing. He says he thinks it's a Doug Christie decision. Well, Doug was asked about Keon and Devin Carter not getting playing time. Here's what he said.
Yeah, sometimes it's obviously difficult to, guys will find a game, whether that's a little bit offensively, if they're, part of it is you're working on the defensive end. You don't want to be the sieve in that with straight line drives and things like that. And, when Keon was out for a few games and then, he was back. So, one thing that you don't want to do is you don't also want to, those guys have found a rhythm for themselves, and you have to respect that at the same time. They have won 4 games, they're finding their rhythm, and you're hoping in your mind that they figure that out. And in moments when they don't, then you have to make subs. But when you talk about, 12, 13 deep, that's a whole different animal than even 10 deep is hard sometimes. So, unfortunately, those guys have been out of the rotation. Malik has played some really good basketball. And at the point guard position, obviously we got Russ and we got Dennis there. So, it gets you want to play them all, but, there just aren't enough minutes to go around, and some guys are out, and that's just how it happens when you're the coach and, everybody's like, I want to play, but everybody can't play.
You know what I appreciate about that, Kayla, even if you don't like the explanation, is he's taking ownership of it. It's These guys aren't playing because other guys are, and I can't play everybody. I'm already playing a 10-man rotation. Yeah. You can like it or you don't have to like it, but this is the decision. Like, Doug made it clear, like, those guys aren't playing, and it's my decision for them not playing right now. And I at least
in a roundabout way, right? Yeah. Like, it is one of those things where I think he was trying to eloquently put that without being like, hey, this is just not what I want in my lineup. Yeah. You're right. He put it on him, but in a way that you kind of had to put the pieces together. Yeah. The one question I have, though, Matt, is when he mentioned, we don't ever, when guys get in a groove and we're not going to, sacrifice their minutes either when they're in a groove. Was Keon Ellis really ever given an opportunity to be in a groove this year? Because we've been having this discussion about Keon since the jump, whether it be a lack of minutes or him not playing at all. So it's just one of those things that I get it if he's not right for what you want to do, but like, was he ever given that opportunity to fully show?
There was a short stretch when Malik was getting the DNPs, and then we're wondering what's going on with Malik, where Keon was given opportunities. I'm going to pull up his game log, too.
I'm interested in that.
Because I've got him right here for you. Yeah. So let's see. He's only had a back-to-back stretch where he's played more than 20 minutes this year. He's never played more than 20 minutes in more than 2 consecutive games.
Yeah, so there's part of this that understands exactly what you're saying, and I understand your point completely. And part of this, how can you expect someone to be consistent and provide consistent impact when their playing time is so inconsistent? I think that's a very, very fair point to make in defense of Keon Ellis. Mm-hmm. I will say this too, and I think a lot of it's been driven on the frustration of just how everything has gone this season, even going all the way back to the summertime and not getting the payday that he thought he deserved. I don't think Keon Ellis has been very good this year. I really don't. I think he's capable of being a lot better, and I feel that if Malik Monk wasn't here, and unfortunately every conversation about Keon has to involve Malik and vice versa, because that's kind of what Doug Christie has made it out to be.
Yeah.
But if Malik weren't here and it was like, Keon, you're in the rotation regardless pretty much of how you're playing, I think we'd see a lot more consistent, better version of Keon Ellis, similar to like last season. But when Keon has played, I don't think he's been as good as he was even last season. And you're looking for a payday, and you've proved that you belong, but now you're trying to prove you can take it to another level. He's not shown that this year. Again, it's not 100% on him, but I will say, me personally, eye test watching him play, the opportunities that he's gotten in, I haven't really been impressed. He's had a couple of good games here or there, but I haven't really been impressed by the impact of Keon Ellis like I was in years past, which was like, yeah, you got to get this guy on a main NBA contract because he's too good not to play.
It's a fair observation for this reason, Matt, because we speak to, you can't ever exactly know what position you're going to be put in.
Mm-hmm.
And, I like Keon Ellis, and, I haven't watched a ton of him. Obviously, this year is when I got here, but just the past and what I've seen from him in the past and what he's done. Love the story.
Mm-hmm.
But you were given, like you said, some opportunities, and it is your job, no matter what the circumstances are around you, to stick out, to make it be known that you can add to this roster in terms of helping them win games or helping the team get to a different level. And I think we're seeing that with a guy like Dylan Cardwell right now, who at first he wasn't given a ton of opportunity, but it's almost like the minute he was really given just a little bit to prove himself, he did enough then to get a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, to your point, Keon maybe was able to do that this year.
Yeah, the impact of Dylan Cardwell jumps out. Like, you can't miss it. The impact of Maxime Reynaud doesn't jump out as much as Dylan, but you can see it. And to be fair, Max got a lot of opportunity to show that, and Dylan as well.
Yeah, and that's a fair
with
point.
the injury to
Sure.
Domantas Sabonis.
Sure.
So they got lucky in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
If Sabonis stays healthy this entire season, I don't know if we see this from Dylan Cardwell, or I don't know if he has an opportunity to show this except for in garbage time. And, I mean, who really knows if that's enough time to impress people enough to then get this playing opportunity. Keon, I let's put it this way. I think Keon Ellis is and should be a rotational NBA player for whatever team he's playing on. And he has not gotten that consistency with the Sacramento Kings. So for the Kings to expect consistency in return from him, I think that's an unfair expectation. But if Keon goes to a playoff team, I have no idea who, and he starts out getting 12 to 15 minutes a night, and he has the same overall impact level consistently that he had this season, or I'd even say same inconsistent impact that he's had this season on that team, with that team playing for playoff spots and playing in the postseason, it might not go well for him.
Yeah.
So he's got to own elements of it too. Keon has not, this has been, in my opinion, his worst season as a pro, but there are outside circumstances that he can't control that certainly impact that.
A little bit of both, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say there's a little bit of both, that, some is on him, some is on just like what it is.
Yeah. We've got some more from Doug Christie that we're going to get to in just a second. Kyle's answering the calls here, or I think he's listening to us. All right, let's get one last thing from Doug. Doug taking ownership. Actually, you know what? Let's do this one. Doug talking about his coaching staff used to, I guess, make fun of him, saying that he fell in love with Dylan Cardwell too quickly.
Yeah.
Doug's like, he knew that Dylan Cardwell was going to be good right from the jump, apparently. And the reason why I don't roll my eyes or laugh when I hear this is because I heard this before, but from other people, not named Doug Christie. Here's what Doug had to say about Dylan Cardwell.
With Dylan, first of all, it's just an honor and a privilege to coach a kid like that. I mean, he does everything that you ask as a coach, everything that we are as an organization, from standards and pillars. Like he totally is that. He brings, when we first came, a lot of my coaches were like, "Oh man, you're in love when we're in summertime," and I was like, "Yeah, I am." Because in my opinion, and Scott and those guys, as we scouted him and ultimately got him, you're looking at a kid that not everybody will say can play in the NBA. Because, it's not the jump shot and the offense and the flash and all of that stuff. But he has an NBA skill right now. He's a grown man. He is strong. He is competitive. He protects the paint. He plays with energy. He gives multiple efforts on the defensive end. He will jump for a rebound, dive on a loose ball, get up, sprint the floor, communicate at a high level. So all of those things for me jumped out right away. And, how long it was going to take him to kind of get the feel of it, the G League has been marvelous for him. And I think that he went down there, and Will and his staff with Big Max down there, they have done an incredible job with working with him, making sure that he's prepared, giving him the minutes and the opportunity. And then when he came here, he was a lot, after the first stint, he was a lot more ready, put him in the game, and I think that you guys can see he affects winning. He truly does. That type of rim protection helps your perimeter, and it allows guys on the perimeter to be a little bit more aggressive. Now we begin to win the possession game. He's going to get offensive rebounds. That's part of the possession game. You're going to turn people over. That's the other part of the possession game. And all of a sudden, he's affecting winning. So a big fan and super excited that he's in a Kings uniform.
So the reason why I wanted to talk about that clip, Kayla, is going back to training camp. I'd spoken with some members of the Kings front office, and they had told me how impressed they were with Dylan Cardwell. And one person from the Kings front office even told me, like, they have not seen, in all their years in the NBA, they have not seen someone show more improvement from the end of summer league to coming into training camp. That's all individual work.
Yeah.
They have not seen more improvement than they saw from Dylan Cardwell over that time. There has always been a big belief in Dylan Cardwell, and they're being proven right. So I believe Doug Christie wholeheartedly when he said, I felt all along that Dylan was going to be this good.
Look, there's always those guys sometimes, especially when you played the game, that you're like, oh, I can see a little bit of me in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what I do like about what you just said is I believe the organization, you know, has identified some young talent in this past draft that should make us feel good moving forward with what they could do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there is stuff in the past that has not gone right with the drafts. But these little things make me feel at least like, okay, they could be identifying really what they need. And then to see the continued growth of Dylan Cardwell, specifically beyond Summer League, has been impressive.
Well, the morning show also had Sam Amick on. We're going to hear some of the things that he had to say coming up in the next segment. Plus, KD, TC, I see you guys on hold. Stick around through the break. We'll get you right when we come back. You're listening to Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports.
What's up, Sactown Sports 1140 fans? It's your boy, Alan Stiles, and I'm here to tell you about a win during tax season that you do not want to miss. Yes, the words win and tax season did just go together. You know why? Because you can join us for an awesome ribbon-cutting grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce at the new H&R Block in Folsom. The first 150 guests score free tacos. Free tacos. You heard that correctly. Plus, you can enter to win gift baskets from local Folsom shops that everyone loves. Raffle and tacos? Man, where do I sign up? But that's not all. New clients filing at this location receive a special discount. Not to mention, I'll be out there, so you know it's going to be a great time. This is your chance to celebrate, win, and most importantly, save at the brand new H&R Block in Folsom. It's a smart play for you, a smart play for your wallet, and a smart play for your taxes. We'll see you there.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Join Sactown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In-Shape Fitness Kings Rally towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-45 4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Sacramento's Outwork playlist is Mix 96.
I'm in love with the shape of you.
Now with 4 opportunities each weekday to be our $1,000 Employee of the Day. Today's hits and yesterday's favorites, Mix 96.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda. Yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
We're re-energized with tacos. We're ready to rock. Matt George, Kayla Anderson, Kyle Ledbetter on the other side of the glass. And now, our good friends, KD and TC joining us. We'll start with KD. Thanks for holding on during the break, my friend. How are you?
How you guys doing? Hey, I wanted to ask you a couple questions first before I give you my opinion.
Yep.
Now, if you look at Sabonis, do you think Sabonis is a better defensive or offensive player?
Offense, and it's not close.
Okay. And Max, do you feel that he's a better defensive or offensive player?
I would say offense.
I agree with you. So for me, I like the matchup, the team of Sabonis and Cardwell, not Max. And I keep hearing a lot of these narratives, not just on this show, but, hey, I'd like to see how Max and Sabonis work together. Mm-hmm. For me, that's concerning because Max is slow to the ball. If you watched the game yesterday, he's very slow reaction defensively. And, not to say the kid doesn't have skills in other places, but I think definitely Cardwell needs to be more core in the mix no matter who we have it. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, Katie, thanks for the call.
No, I like it. I get what you're saying with that. It might be kind of a better yin and yang type of situation. Mm-hmm. And I think we've all been under the assumption because Max has been the guy that kind of developed a little bit before Cardwell did.
Yep.
And so you probably proved me wrong on what I said earlier with wanting to see Domas and Max.
I'm in the same boat.
I think you're right. I think seeing Cardwell and Domas might be actually the more interesting thing in terms of production.
Well, you know who agrees with KD is Doug Christie, because we've asked about that.
Okay,
I asked Doug directly about that before
Yeah.
a game recently, and we know Doug is very defensive oriented, and that's why he tried Dillon and Domas first, because Dillon provides the rim protection that Domas has never provided. My concerns about that are on the offensive end, and the fact that spacing is so important in the modern NBA, and Domantas Sabonis' three-point shot is not nearly consistent enough to. It was good last year, but it's regressed significantly. It's not nearly good enough for him to be any kind of There's a reason why when Domantas Sabonis gets the ball in the high post or top of the key or from three-point range, you'll see the defender sag off. That's what the Warriors started that now everybody else does. I dare you to shoot, Domas. And Domas doesn't feel comfortable taking that shot enough. Everybody knows it. And if you put Dylan Cardwell in the corner or outside of the paint, Dylan doesn't have much of an offensive bag even inside the paint. They're working on trying to get that hook shot, and they're working on trying to get him to score more around the rim. But Dylan doesn't look to score. That's who he is naturally. That's okay. I know Doug Christie is defense first. But spacing in today's NBA is everything. And the reason why I'm curious about Max and Domas is because I think Max has the potential to be able to be that floor spacer with how he played in college. He hasn't shown it that much here, but in Stanford, he was a three-point shooter. And if you were to ask me, okay, Max's weakness is on the defense compared to the offense. Dylan's weakness is on the offense compared to the defense. But I think Max is closer to correcting that weakness on the defensive end because he's tall and long and could, in theory, block shots. Then Dylan Cardwell is closer to suddenly adding a jump shot. So that's why I'm with that. But I'm all for seeing both. Let's see it all.
And that's unfortunately, guys. The whole point of this is like, we're not going to maybe see this until we get a fully healthy Domantas Sabonis. Yeah. And right now, I think he is still kind of working through the knee stuff. Not saying he's going to be sitting this whole road game. I think it was more of a back-to-back situation.
I think he's playing tomorrow, I believe.
But we need to start. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to start seeing both of those combos.
Mm-hmm. And if Sabonis is on this team for the final parts of the season after the trade deadline, like I believe he will be. This is the time to experiment. So try a starting lineup of Max and Domas together and see how it works. Try stretches of Domas and Carter together. Max and Carter. You have three centers that all can play.
Mismatch.
Try just different pairings of them. Hell, put all three of them on the floor and just go crazy.
Yeah, get crazy.
Now is the time to experiment. But it was a great question by KD, and it's going to be something definitely to watch as this season goes on. Now, of course, the one and only TC joining us. TC, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Matt, what's going on? Kayla, what's up? Y'all got me?
What's up, TC?
Okay, listen, so check it out. What I got right here is you got to respect Doug. We go back to the roster politics. We go back to the whole roster politics situation. What I said from day one when everybody, TC, you tripping, you can't do that. Most successful head coaches and organizations make decisions that way. Bro, I don't care. You sit on the bench. It was happening last night. You got to respect that, man. That's what you need moving forward. Even Cardwell came out and talked about it. Man, we just fell asleep, man. That's on us. We wasn't doing what we were supposed to do, and you got to respect the youngster. Also, you can't take his joy. Him with the hand waving in the air and all. That's him. That's joy.
Yep.
That's what we love as Kings fans, right? Also.
Uh-oh. Did we lose you, TC?
It was like the best part, and it just went quiet.
He said, also, and then he's gone. Well,
cliffhanger.
We'll leave in suspense. TC will probably, TC calls every day. He'll call back hopefully tomorrow and deliver on that also. But yeah, TC is very much in like the team Doug Christie, and I think TC really values Doug making the hard decisions. We talked about this a lot yesterday, Kayla. Like, regardless of if we agree with how he handled benching Zach LaVine yesterday, or 2 days ago.
2 days, yeah.
And having Domantas Sabonis only play 5 minutes of the second half. Now that looks a little bit different because they rested him last night for injury management. And I think those are two completely different reasons. But it takes, it takes cojones a little bit to follow through on your word and go, Zach LaVine, I'm benching you. Most expensive player on the team, I'm benching you because you're not playing the defense that I need. And Neat Clifford and Dylan Cardwell are going to play more than you down the stretch. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. And a lot of coaches, like, if we're being honest, a lot of coaches might not survive a decision like that.
Yeah, it's a hard line to toe for sure. And especially just the situation that I keep on saying this, that they've kind of been given in terms of the coaching staff this year. Doug's been given with this roster. Like, you are expected to win games, but you're also expected to manage everything, to manage the log jam, all of the words that we've heard, but then, still get the development of the player. I don't envy him at all with what's going on this season. I'm not saying, like, Doug's the greatest coach on planet Earth, but I do feel like I'm actually more curious as to how he kind of starts to maneuver once a piece or two is moved. Giving him a full season just to work with different pieces, I'm more than willing to do that.
Let's hear a little bit from Sam Amick this morning on with Carmichael, Dave, and Jason Ross. And, of course, Sam had to talk about Jonathan Kuminga.
The DeRozan one, I was a little surprised that the immediate feedback was probably not. I don't know exactly how the Warriors see it. It was more on the DeMar side that was not one that was necessarily seen as a good fit. So, I don't know that the Warriors even know what they're going to do. Mike Dunleavy made it clear, the other day in his presser that he wants to see how this looks for a while. I mean, Jonathan being out there was obviously a a change and scoring 20-plus points in 21 minutes. And, I don't know. They are a whole lot farther away from their goal now than they were before the injury, so they got a new calculus.
Sam, how about Kuminga's perspective here? Because I seemed reluctant to sign. He did sign. I think he has been verbal at times of wanting out of there, and then had 9 straight DNPs, and I think that would have continued had we not had the Jimmy Butler injury. He does play. He did play pretty well and produced in the amount of minutes he played. What do you think he thinks of the organization? I mean, does he still want to be there in 2 weeks?
No, I definitely don't think he does. I mean, I was curious if he was going to play, you know what I mean? Like when they needed him, if he was going to go ahead and kind of take his ball and go home, that would have potentially become a players union league issue. And he didn't do that. But no, I mean, the animosity in that situation remains pretty high. His agent obviously continues to take the discussion publicly, and you could argue that he was responding to the Mike Dunleavy press conference. And if anybody listening didn't see it or hear about it, his agent Aaron Turner had tweeted out basically a kind of a sarcastic response to Mike Dunleavy's quote about not supply and demand, but just the lack of demand for Jonathan. But it's just become a mudslinging contest, which is not ideal. To Jonathan's credit, I know people keep saying this. It is funny. You watch the games, and in that Miami game that I was at before Jimmy Butler got hurt, his body language is good. He's getting up off the bench to cheer for his teammates and seemed to be at peace with the state of affairs. But as far as his plans and what he wants, he definitely doesn't want to be playing there.
I actually want to go back to something that Sam said at the beginning of that clip, which was...
Are we thinking the same thing?
Is it the DeMar DeRozan thing?
Yes! I was literally just going to ask that.
It's not so much that he's heard it's the Warriors are out on DeMar. It's that DeMar doesn't exactly think that fit is good. Not that DeMar has a no-trade clause or anything, but it sounds like he wasn't too big of a fan of the idea of playing for Golden State.
Well, and that's why I wanted to re-ask you that, because I was like, did I hear that wrong? No, I heard that right. You're right. That's the first thing that I thought of. It's like not so much that Golden State doesn't think he would be a fit here. It's more so the things he's hearing from DeRozan's camp. And that is really interesting to me, Matt, because again, we're not talking about a team across the country. DeMar DeRozan is from California. I'm not saying it's like his goal to stay here his whole life, but a lot of the times these players later on in their careers would like to stay close to home where family is, Yeah. But what else would be the situation with DeMar not wanting to go to a team like Golden State that has a better chance at making the playoffs?
To play with Steph,
an organization that, granted they're in a little bit of a funk right now, but I'm wondering, does he not want to leave Sacramento, or does he just not want to go to Golden State for some weird reason we don't know about?
I imagine there are other ideal choices for him, other teams that he'd rather. And I think there is a fair question offensively about his fit.
Yeah.
Because he is kind of a slow it down, isolation, dribble the ball scorer, and the Warriors, we know, like to move and run and move the ball around and push and everything like that. So I guess I could understand some hesitations, but I would think DeMar would rather play for the Warriors right now than the Sacramento Kings. But I don't know. Maybe there's something about the Golden State Warriors that DeMar doesn't feel great about. But we're going to hear more from Sam Amick. He had some interesting things to say about Keon Ellis, also about Scott Perry's relationship with R.J. Barrett. And I wanted to play that clip and talk about that because if there's going to be a Domantas Sabonis trade, it sounds like the Raptors are the leader in the clubhouse, and R.J. Barrett has a history with Scott Perry, so maybe there's something there. We'll hear more from Sam coming up next.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Two new voices join the midday. Matt George and Kayla Anderson.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Watch online at SactownSports.com, on the app, or in your car.
Listen to the latest on the Sacramento Kings, the San Francisco 49ers, and all breaking news.
Northern California is covered.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The best in the middays during your weekdays are on your local sports leader. Sactown Sports 1140.
What's up, Sactown Sports 1140 fans? It's your boy, Alan Stiles, and I'm here to tell you about a win during tax season that you do not want to miss. Yes, the words win and tax season did just go together. You know why? Because you can join us for an awesome ribbon-cutting grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce at the new H&R Block in Folsom. The first 150 guests score free tacos. Free tacos. You heard that correctly. Plus, you can enter to win gift baskets from local Folsom shops that everyone loves. Raffle and tacos? Man, where do I sign up? But that's not all. New clients filing at this location receive a special discount. Not to mention, I'll be out there, so you know it's going to be a great time. This is your chance to celebrate, win, and most importantly, save at the brand new H&R Block in Folsom. It's a smart play for you, a smart play for your wallet, and a smart play for your taxes. We'll see you there.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Right now at Elk Grove Honda, you can lease the 2025 Accord Hybrid Sports Sedan for only $39.99 down, including first payment due at lease inception, excluding tax and license. 35 monthly payments of $299 plus tax, license, and zero security deposit on approved credit. Mileage in excess of 10,000 per year at 20 cents per mile. It really is the least you can do. We're Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or on the web at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Award-winning guitarist and songwriter Gary Clark Jr. Tour 2026, Saturday, January 31st, 7 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. An electrifying night of music with Gary Clark Jr. Special guest, Marcus King Band. On sale at the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit thundervalleyresort.com. Gary Clark Jr. Live.
The winter service event is on at Maida Subaru. Now is the time to let Maida Subaru get your Subaru road ready for the winter weather with exceptional savings on tires, brakes, wiper blades, and more. See all the service specials at MaidaSubaru.com.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Man, if you've missed all the action on Sactown Sports today, you got some homework. Got some catching up to do.
A lot of it.
From Doug Christie. Yeah, the Doug Christie, head coach of the Sacramento Kings, on the morning show with Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross. Also, Sam Aiyuk was on with them this morning, and we're going to hear more from Sam here in just a second. We had Marc Spears on the show earlier today. Plus, we still got the drive guys. Whitey Gleason, Alan Stiles coming up. They always bring the heat here on this Thursday. No Kings game tonight. They're heading out onto the road for a 6-game road trip, which begins tomorrow, and they're taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Maybe that's an audition for Malik Monk or DeMar DeRozan. I've always liked Cleveland as a potential landing spot for them, but I don't know. Maybe Cleveland doesn't have any interest. I don't know. Just me.
We'll see.
That's what I would do at NBA 2K. Sam Aiyuk is a wonderful guest every single week with Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross, and we've already heard from him talking about the Jonathan Kuminga stuff, but he also had a couple things to say in addition to that. One of the things was about, of course, Keon Ellis, and Sam's been pretty consistent that he thinks Keon Ellis is going to be gone.
Regarding the Kings, the name that you keep mentioning is Keon as probably the one that's most coveted, most targeted. Still in the same place there with him?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if he's not, not only the first one out the door, but the, I don't know, maybe the only one out the door.
Yeah.
That one is just, as far as people knocking on the door, it remains not an issue. It's just a matter of, the exact price point. I know the Kings have certainly been hoping and optimistic that you'd be, my sense is like looking at a late first type thing.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if they can get that done.
Boy, I sure hope it's more than just a late first. Like I think it's more valuable for the Kings to use Keon Ellis to move on from one of their veterans.
Yeah.
If the Kings walk out of the trade deadline, it's better than nothing. But if the move on trade deadline day is the Kings traded Keon Ellis to playoff team X for a pick that's likely to be, let's say, 27th this year or a protected first in a future year, like, it's good, but I wanted more.
Matt,
so I hope there's more than that.
I know, but I'm starting to feel like, because we have not heard much, and we just heard Sam AI earlier talk about he was surprised with the DeRozan thing not really being as gravitating for, his camp to Golden State. Like, and that's kind of the piece that we were really thinking could move out of the veterans, and then maybe even you have a sweetener to go along with it in Keon Ellis. But my fear is that he just said he might be the only one that gets moved. And I feel like Scott Perry thinks, like, we've got to get somebody out of here. And if it is Keon for a lower first-round pick, I'm not saying that is a good move, but it's a move. Are we okay with that? You say no, but it's like, I am curious as to what the listeners think on that.
I'd take that over no moves, but
right.
I would.
Worst case scenario.
I have hopes for more.
Yeah, I would think you would.
And between now and the trade deadline, there's 14 days. So there's a little less than that now, because the trade deadline is at noon on February 5th. A lot can change, a lot of things can pick up, and there's always trades and things that happen that we never heard inklings of before. So it's not like we have to hear it or it's not going to happen type thing at this point. But at this moment, it does feel like it's either going to be something minor, mild, like that kind of Keon Ellis trade. If there's going to be a blockbuster, it sounds like it's going to be between the Kings and the Warriors, and we don't know how much the Warriors are willing to play ball. So I'm hopeful that the Kings will be able to make more moves, but I'm bracing myself that a lot of this roster is going to look the same, which does not. Just when I think about the remainder of this season with primarily this roster still intact, I'm just I don't.
What was that again?
It just makes me tired. Like,
I know.
There's 38 or whatever more games of this. I'm like,
yeah, and you're there every single night.
Well, even if Kuminga doesn't end up getting Kuminga in the building, at least it's something new. It's something different. Give me something to be excited about. Like, if this roster is primarily still intact, I'm waiting for Keegan Murray to return and show me something. And then I'm hoping, like, Nick Clifford blossoms.
Sure.
Like, at that point, like, that's all I have to, and Dylan Cardwell, of course, and Maxime Reynaud. But it's like, if I need something to carry me through the rest of this season, hopefully the Beam Boys can do it, I guess. But I'm hoping the Kings, and I think I speak for the fan base, we need some sort of trade. We need some sort of something to not just reignite this fan base a little bit and spark some excitement, but get this freaking rebuild started. Just get it started.
Get the ball rolling. And if you like Kuminga, if you don't like Kuminga, that seems to be the most likely situation if someone is brought in terms of a new player. And the positive on that, Marc Spears said it earlier on the show. You can download the podcast, see the clip on YouTube if you want after you're done listening to all the great shows here on Sactown Sports. But Marc Spears said, Kuminga, he likes Kuminga as a player and as a person. Yep. And I know there's varying opinions on Kuminga. I personally feel he would fit here. And I do feel like he would play with a lot of pride knowing that this organization fought hard to bring him in. That would give, I think, a lot of things to look forward to, too, in the second half of the season because, again, he's still developing.
Yeah.
He's still, going to try to be finding his way if he comes here on this new roster. And so that brings in a whole different type of perspective to what this team could continue to grow to be.
And when Keegan Murray comes back, what do Keegan and Kuminga look like together? What does Kuminga look like with a Dylan Cardwell, right? There becomes more interest level, more reasons to watch each game closely to try and put the breadcrumbs together to build the foundation for what this rebuild can be, and maybe something that in 2 to 3 years from now actually turns into playoff basketball. We just got to get that ball rolling, because I don't think Kings fans
I think they're tired.
I'm tired, man.
Yeah, there it is.
I just get I get
great.
exhausted with the idea of the rest of the season just going this way. I mean, I think
It's a great job
I think
right there.
a lot of the organization might feel that exact same way. I don't know if Scott Perry wants to watch his own team if this is what they're going to look like for the remainder of the season. Plus, they have some stretches coming up too, where the schedule is a little bit weaker, and with the talent on this roster, the veterans may be able to just squeak out too many wins that hurt the Kings ultimately in the draft lottery as well. So just get one of these guys out of there and get this ball rolling. Really quick though, Sam also spoke on the rumors of Domantas Sabonis to the Toronto Raptors, the Raptors' interest, and he brought up RJ Barrett, which I thought was interesting.
It's interesting, just as a little colorful side note. I saw Scott Perry at the game last night and chatted with him a little bit, and he actually broke off from saying hello to go have an incredibly warm interaction with RJ Barrett before that game, and it really struck me that, man, RJ, Scott drafted him in New York. And, that's always a meaningful thing. But my goodness, if you didn't know any better, you would have thought they were actual family. I mean, RJ's level of excitement to see Scott was through the roof. So that kind of got my attention a little bit. So,
yeah, I thought that was interesting because it's one, RJ Barrett is Scott Perry's guy. When he was in New York, Scott drafted RJ Barrett. So there's the connection there. And if the Kings are going to trade Sabonis away, they're going to hope for some sort of draft compensation from the Raptors, but there's also the talk that the Raptors are trying to unload some of their contracts. RJ Barrett is one of those contracts that they would unload. RJ only has 1 year left on his deal after this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a contract that I feel like Perry would be willing to take on.
Yeah.
It's the Emmanuel Quickley 3 more years at $32.5 million, or Jakob Poeltl 3 more years under contract that the Kings are probably like, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. But the RJ Barrett connection with Scott Perry is important to note, and it was a good observation by Sam Amick, and it would make sense for the Kings to try and get RJ Barrett out of Toronto and here to Sacramento.
Those are the types of things that Scott Perry, probably behind closed doors, there are little conversations, because you have to try to have conversations with every team that there is some sort of interest with your guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make complete sense. Not saying that's going to happen at all, but Scott Perry, again, he wants to bring in guys he trusts, guys he knows, guys that fit what his culture is and his pillars. And RJ Barrett is definitely one of those guys. The contract would make sense.
Well, let's switch gears from one organization with a lot of decisions to make for the Sacramento Kings to another organization with a lot of decisions to make in the San Francisco 49ers. Both John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan spoke to the media yesterday in their end-of-year press conference. They had plenty to talk about. We'll play it for you next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey there, it's Marc and Tom, the travel and entertainment guys, brought to you by Sports Leisure Vacations. Time for our weekly travel tip, and with it, Mr. Mark Hoffman.
Travelers are taxed like crazy. In Minnesota, the car rental taxes total 22%. Colorado, New York, and Arkansas are close behind at 20, 19, and 21% respectively. So what can you do? If you need a rental car and you're flying into the local airport, well, you can do your homework. In some cases, the airport rental price is the highest in town. A car rental downtown or from a suburban location will almost always be cheaper because those locations don't have concession recovery fees or customer facility charges. That's the extra cost of doing business at the airport. An Uber ride each way could save you a sizable sum on your rental. On rental cars, always check out the taxes. That $30 a day price on the first page is going to look entirely different on the last.
More tips to make you a smarter traveler, Saturdays at 11 a.m. right here at Sactown Sports 1140.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See Club for details.
This Sactown Sports 49ers report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. 49ers season comes to a close in Seattle on Saturday, losing 41-6. San Francisco playing without All-Pros George Kittle, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa, and the injuries proved to be too much to overcome. San Francisco finishes the year 13-6. As for Seattle, they advanced to the conference championship game, where they will take on LA, who defeated Chicago in overtime 20-17. Catch that game right here on Sactown Sports beginning at 3.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Guys, low energy, low drive, or strength not what it used to be? For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, start with a free T-check exam and consultation to get real answers. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. Call 916-619-3000 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply. Must medically qualify.
Sactown sports fans, when the final buzzer sounds, the real action is just getting started. If you live for big moments, big crowds, and unforgettable nights, you'll find them all right here on the Sactown Sports Live Events calendar. Get ready to laugh until it hurts with Daniel Tosh, live January 24th at the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Then turn the volume all the way up with Ernest, bringing high-energy country to Ace of Spades January 31st. Slow it down and vibe out when Jodeci delivers the classics live February 15th at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Experience iconic sounds and the smooth style of Chris Isaac February 28th at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. And rock legends Jefferson Starship take the stage March 15th at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Comedy, concerts, legendary performances. Find every show, every date, and plan your next big night out with the Sactown Sports Live Events calendar. Play hard, rock harder, only on Sactown Sports.
Thunder, feel the thunder. It's the energy all around you. Lightning and the thunder. The thrill of the moments to come. The flash of lights. The rush of pure exhilaration. The roar of the crowd. See it, hear it, feel it. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
The San Francisco 49ers are going into quite the interesting offseason. Kayla Anderson, Matt George, Kayla Anderson, Kyle Ledbetter on the other side of the glass here as we switch gears back to San Francisco 49ers football. I had a great conversation with Nick Wagner, the 49ers reporter for ESPN earlier, and he was present for Shanahan and General Manager John Lynch's press conference yesterday. And we're going to play some of that audio for you from the press conference. But before we get to that, Kayla, of course, your ties to the Tennessee Titans. The Niners just put out a thank you Robert Saleh post on social media. That's because the Titans made it official. Robert Saleh is going to Tennessee. He's the head coach of the Titans. And he said what we were told yesterday by Rossini. That was his number one spot. That's where he wanted to go. He had his eyes on that prize. If you were to explain to Niner fans or just the sports fan, what about that job you think is most appealing to Saleh? Sure. What would it be?
First and foremost, I do believe that when you have a belief in a quarterback and what you can build around, that's the biggest part. And I know Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded coach. Right. However, if he has what he is convinced about a franchise quarterback there, he just needs to get the right pieces in to help Cam Ward. That's a huge part of the problem to fix. Another thing in terms of the organization, it has been sloppy in years past with the owner, Amy Adams Strunk, not necessarily giving full, control to the general manager. That is seemed to be fixed. Mike Borgonzi, who comes over from Kansas City, has done a great year in his year one. The statement was put out that said, I'm giving full control to Mike Borgonzi to make the decision. So it doesn't look like there's too many cooks in the kitchen at this point. So I think that was really addressed to Saul too, like this is a thing. And then I also just think being in Nashville, it's a growing city. It's not a huge city, but it's a city where I think you can get focused on just doing your job and not having the scrutiny of like a New York media and a New York type of attention. I think he's going to be able to just go to work there.
Yeah.
And also he's got kind of a lot just a freshness to work with.
Yeah.
So he can get his hands in the pot and put his stamp on it.
It seems like a good place where you'll have the time and patience to do it right. And that would be appealing to me, especially after going to the New York market and things happening in New York the way that they happened with the Jets. But that's not a similar luxury that the 49ers have. The 49ers do expect to turn things around, and not even turn things around. They were still very good this year.
They were good.
But build upon and get right back into that conversation for winning the NFC West, which is the best division in football by far. Putting themselves back in the Super Bowl conversation and trying to, hopefully, bare minimum, stay healthy next year. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan both spoke to the media yesterday. There were a lot of stories and storylines on the field for the Niners this season. One story never touched the field, and that was Brandon Aiyuk. And, well, John Lynch spoke very bluntly about Aiyuk's future with the Niners.
For both of you, what is the plan for Brandon Aiyuk, and do you envision a scenario in which he's on this team next year? If so, what would that look like?
Yeah. The plan in terms of the transaction, that will come in due time. I think it's safe to say that he's played his last snap with the Niners. It's unfortunate, situation that just went awry. And, I will look long and hard at, what could have been done differently, but sometimes just doesn't work out. And I think that this was a case where that happened.
Mr. Lynch, I don't think you have to look too long and hard at what went wrong. You should have just never given him that bag. And that's tough to say because we like Brandon Aiyuk here a lot. He played at Sierra College just down the road.
I learned that from you.
Yeah, local guy. Seemed to be great. I don't know Brandon Aiyuk personally. I've talked to him one time, and it was very, very briefly, like at training camp a few years ago. So I don't have any sort of relationship with him, don't know him personally or anything like that. From the outside perspective, I'm concerned about Brandon Aiyuk. I'm concerned of the advice that he's getting and the people that are around him. I'm concerned of what's going on between the ears. I have no idea. And like we've seen extreme cases of players kind of going off the deep end in the case of Antonio Brown. I'm not saying anything like that for Aiyuk necessarily, but this whole saga has been so strange, and normally a lot of times I side with the player over the organization. This is one of those circumstances where the Niners just are just like, what is going on? And like Nick Wagner said earlier, just feels like they've had buyer's remorse almost from the second they put ink to paper.
And I get that. I feel like this situation, they've had situations in the past with players like Deebo Samuel. This is an instance where, they were kind of going back and forth and there was questions about what was happening. But I don't feel like that even closely ended the way that this did.
No,
like
God, no.
That was good graces.
Yeah.
Like everything was fine in the end. This has been an ongoing saga that has just gotten more weird and more concerning, like you said, for the player who is Brandon Aiyuk. I think that it's hard for other teams now to look at this situation and not at least question, do we want to get involved in something like this? Do we like the chance we can maybe take to have a talent like Aiyuk here? Sure, because every team wants to fix things, wants to rejuvenate a career. But I would be really careful about this if I was another organization who's just trying to get a body in, because the Niners, again, do things well as an organization. And for this to collapse, I'm not saying it was all Aiyuk's fault, but for this to collapse to this level is extremely concerning. And look, now the Niners have to wipe their hands. They have to move on from it because they've got other needs at that position now and tight end that they've got to, like you said, they have to start reloading because there's still a time for them, a window for them to win a Super Bowl. They've got a quarterback. They've got pieces on defense. But bye-bye Brandon Aiyuk. We got to figure out how to bring some new pieces in for this offense.
Yeah, usually in the cases of disgruntled, talented players, I don't know if we can call Aiyuk a star, but disgruntled, very talented skill position players, there's usually always going to be at least one organization that's out there that's like, I can fix him. Or if I get him in my system, I can maximize it. He just needs to get out of Santa Clara, San Francisco. He just needs a fresh start. We can be that for him. But this is not just a disgruntled star wanting out. This is a player that destroyed his knee, torn ACL, MCL, meniscus,
LCL,
all the L's,
Wow.
LOL,
PCL.
Yeah.
LMNOP. Like he destroyed his knee and has been, granted he's had plenty of time to rehab it and get it back and get it right. I say that to say, if I'm the 49ers, I take anything that I can get. Anything. And I am not having expectations of what's proper value for Brandon Aiyuk. We don't know because nobody in there is looking at Brandon Aiyuk now and going, you're the same player. Everyone's looking at Brandon Aiyuk and going, what are you? Are you even remotely close to the explosive wide receiver that helped the Niners make it to the Super Bowl a couple of seasons ago? And I don't think, I mean, when you have that catastrophic of an injury, how can you expect him to be the same?
It's tough because mind-wise, these players, go through so many different things. I've, been in locker rooms for a long time, and dealing with injuries is really tough. Like having those conversations sometimes, and you've probably had these conversations in an NBA locker room too, is every guy goes through different ways of battling through and coming back through injuries. We see the guys like, Fred Warner, who they're ready to go way before schedule.
He's a freak, man.
I mean, those guys are rare, right? You've got guys on the opposite side that really struggle mindset-wise to get back and to come out of a funk. And I don't want to put too much on the mental health side of this because it's a real thing with players, guys. It's
100%.
A real freaking thing.
Especially in football.
Especially in football.
This generation is not okay, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, and you're seeing it kind of with his situation. I think you brought up a good point of good advice or having the right people around you. That's part of that as well. But I think you have to really realize if you're the Niners, like you said, you kind of have to just part ways, get what you can get out of him, wish him the best. And I hope, he can rejuvenate his career. He's not doing himself any favors right now. And to me, it screams, I don't love ball. Yeah. That's what it screams to me right now.
Yeah. Well, how about another storyline that was also off the field, but apparently was adjacent to the field or too close to the field that might have been causing these injuries? John Lynch spoke on the dreaded electrical substation.
Because it deals with allegedly, the health and safety of our players, I think you have to look into everything. And so our guys we've been reaching out to anyone and everyone to see, does a study exist other than a guy sticking an apparatus underneath a fence and coming up with a number that I have no idea what that means. That's what we know exists. We've heard that debunked. So yes, we will look into it. We have the health and safety of our players is of the utmost priority. We pour into it. Our ownership, Jed, tremendous in terms of resources, and we'll always be cognizant of things. I know that a lot of games have been won at this facility, since it opened, and so, but yeah, we aren't going to turn a blind eye. We'll look into everything.
Imagine if we had told John Lynch at the start of the season that one of the things you're going to have to answer questions about is the electrical substation next to your practice facility, and what's
also
that doing
it's
to your
the only
players?
thing anyone wants to know about.
I know it's a fun. It's become just a fun, crazy piece of this just fun, crazy NFL season that we've gone through. But what was refreshing? Lynch basically said I don't know how it works or whatever, but man, we're going to look at everything because the amount of injuries that we were hit with this year, this can't happen again. They need to bring in a full-on third-party audit of the entire organization. What are we doing that's getting everybody to have their their injuries or their legs blown apart or whatever. Just everything that they're going through this year was insane from an injury standpoint.
It is bizarre, and I don't have a thought on this, guys. I mean, I trust.
Tell us about the electrical substation,
Look,
Kayla.
There's different things that I am a health kind of person, so I do, I'm aware of certain things. I'm not saying by any means that this is a real thing.
You didn't cover this in Tennessee?
I didn't. I did, though, however, cover an injury plague over 3 or 4 years under Mike Vrabel. And I have heard people talk about this has really been a thing since Kyle Shanahan got brought in. And it's interesting the way that they practice, especially close to game days and all of that, which the players seem to love, seem to say that's what helps us win these games. But you also have to look into, hey, how are they, doing this before games practice-wise? Are they going full out? In terms of strength and conditioning coaches, how are they handling those types of things? So I do think Lynch is going to go in and he's going to do a full audit of anything that would have to do with why there might be these many injuries. I think it doesn't get fixed overnight, but I do think if they're the organization I talk about them being, that some of this will be fixed for next season in terms of not seeing that number again.
At the very least, they got to try something different.
They have to try something.
I don't think you can point to one thing as like that was the problem. No. And as desperate as we're all looking, it's Shanahan's fault, or it's this electrical substation, or it's voodoo dolls. Like we don't know what it is, and it's not one thing in particular.
Well, it might be the voodoo dolls.
It could be the voodoo dolls. You don't know. Maybe there's some voodoo dolls being made about these Niners players somewhere. But but I think at the very, very least, they'll examine, hey, what are some things that we could at least try differently or do better, and start there and see if there's any sort of difference that we can point to. Maybe there's not, and it's just you were really unlucky, and you're going to continue to be really, really, really unlucky. Yeah. Maybe it is the voodoo dolls. I do not know, but they need to do something different, and I'm glad that Lynch is being very transparent and honest with, like, we're looking at everything. I'm happy to hear that versus if he were just to brush it off and just go, this was really unlucky.
Yeah.
Maybe, but don't just brush it under the rug as this wasn't a serious thing that plagued your organization this year, and it's been a problem for the past couple of years.
Yep.
Well, Kyle Shanahan also spoke, and he gave a pretty articulate answer on both how this season went for the Niners and the Niners' salary cap situation.
I mean, last year was a huge challenge. We've salary cap wise and what we've gone for numbers of years. I mean, you can't do that every year. That's the way it's set up, and we had done that too many years in a row. So we had to make a decision to cut on money last year. That wasn't us being cheap or anything. We actually spend almost as much or more than everybody. That's what you have to do in the cycle of how it's all based. And more so than the injuries, that was the hardest thing to overcome, is how many good players we had to let go out of this building that went and helped a lot of other teams. That's why when we did have significant injuries to some very good players, it was more daunting. That would have been in years past, because the guys we would have hung on when you lose a guy like Fred or you lose a guy like Nick, those guys we lost because of free agency and stuff that we had to do because of the previous year. So, yes, if you would have told me that we lost those guys before the season with what we were going into, I wouldn't have expected us to have the record and stuff that we did. But that's when you look at things as a whole and you try to give a narrative to a whole. Like we just prepare for a game each week, and there was very few Sundays that we felt by the time we got there that we didn't have a chance to win. And I thought we did play well. I thought our players grinded and overcame a ton of things this year, and it gave us a chance to make the playoffs. And I never sit there and say, like, this will be successful if we just get close to the playoffs or something like that. I mean, we always expect to try to compete for the playoffs. We know some seasons are going to be harder than others, which we thought this would be. And I am proud to a degree of what we accomplished. That doesn't mean I'm sitting here 3 days removed and having great perspective. Once you get to that point, you believe you can get to the next point, because you can't get that far if that isn't possible. So we're real disappointed right now with how the season ended, and I'm still dealing with that, which it'll get easier over the weeks and stuff. And then as we start to look into putting our coaching staff together, which, obviously losing Robert and stuff, there's definitely some holes there that we got to replace. And then once you do that, then it's me catching up with John with where we're at financially, what we can do, what the options are, what's available in free agency, what's available in the draft, what helps you on this year, what helps you to the next year, and all that stuff is connected. We're going to always try to do as well as we can to compete each year. But some years are harder than others in terms of what you can do financially. And I know I'm not there yet, but that's stuff that I'll be getting caught up from these guys over the next 2 months.
I hope Kyle just takes a month or a few weeks or whatever he needs to do and just gets away. Like, you showed us the before and after pictures of when he took the job versus what he looks like right now. I applaud. There's so much about Kyle Shanahan that I seriously, like not jokingly, applaud him for going through this year. But I also, in a joking way, but also kind of not kind of joking, I applaud Kyle Shanahan for not losing his you-know-what on the sideline, or, like, I know he's yelled at players and had frustrated, like, whatever. I mean, like, I just lost Fred Warner after Bosa, or I just lost George Kittle in the playoffs after all these injuries. I'm going to take this cooler of Gatorade or whatever it is, and I am going to throw it as far as I can. I'm going to flip this bench. I'm going to kick everything in my sight, including the assistants, any intern that I can throw a punch at. Like, I do not blame... and I do not condone violence on interns. I do not blame, or would not have blamed, Shanahan at all for just having a public what the hell moment. And I hope at some point he let it out in his office behind closed doors, like nobody else is in the building. He just slams his door and just screams. Because the stuff he dealt with this year, the stuff the Niners in general dealt with, but he coached his way through, and you hear him talking in that clip. It's just like, well, no, this next problem. Now we have to replace Robert. It's just, to him, it's just like a checklist of items, and most people like, I'm done. I quit. If my list keeps getting longer and longer and longer without any hope of fixing it in sight, you have to be just a special breed to be an NFL head coach.
And that's why there's not that many great head coaches where you can like have a guy like Kyle Shanahan who, he's set in his ways. Yeah, he's a little, set in his ways, especially when it comes to the offense and how he runs it and what specific players he wants there. The specific defense, which then, goes into why he hires certain defensive coordinators to be there. He wants a certain defense. Like, he's not willing to really break away from his mold. A lot of places, that would not work, right? When you're stubborn in your ways, it doesn't always work in the NFL. But for Shanahan, because he is such a brilliant mind and manages these type of situations so well, it just continues to work for him, even though he's losing his defensive coordinators almost every single year. He's losing other, coordinators and other position coaches. I mean, I think I saw it with Saleh. He's bringing a handful of position coaches over to Tennessee. But he kind of just is always able to restock not only the players on the field, but the staff as well. I think this year is going to be really interesting, though. How do some of these players come back from those injuries and perform, first and foremost? Because there's always questions when your star players come back from those type of injuries. But how do they decide to reload? And where do they decide to put the priorities in the draft? That's all stuff that I'm intrigued with this 49ers team that, again, we know can always win because of the coach.
A question that we talked a lot about already on this show, Kayla, in regards to the 49ers offseason is what do they do with Mac Jones, right? Mac was so important for helping them survive those weeks that Brock Purdy was dealing with his injuries and all banged up, and he didn't just help them survive, he helped them excel, right? And there's going to be value for Mac Jones out there in the trade market. I'm going to read for you this quote because we don't have audio of it, but I'm going to read for you this quote from Kyle Shanahan about Mac, and just curious what your thoughts on this. Shanahan said, "Awesome conversation with Jones, just like I did with a number of players. As any player on our team, including myself and John, you always listen to people and trade offers, but we're also not into getting rid of good players. So I'd be very surprised if Mac wasn't around us next year." So Nick Wagner said earlier in the show that he would expect the Niners to try and to shop Mac Jones. They should absolutely have a high price tag on his head. But I think Kyle Shanahan's saying the exact right thing here. Look, if you want him, you're going to have to come and convince us to give him to you, because I don't want to get rid of him. He loved the guy already before this year. Now he really loves the security blanket. Like, This is the exact right thing to say if you're Kyle Shanahan.
Coming from someone who wasn't a believer in Mac Jones until he came here and kind of revived his career because he had to.
Yeah.
He has done enough to prove he can be a starting quarterback right now for a team. And I say that more so because there are a lot of teams that still need quarterbacks that have at least proven something.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm looking at you, Indianapolis Colts, where you've tried some things. Obviously, you didn't get it right in the draft a few years back with Anthony Richardson. The Phillip Rivers experience was just short-lived because that was just a great story. But in all seriousness, you got to figure out what you're doing at the quarterback position. I feel with Steichen there, by the way, from this area, it could be another safe situation for a guy like Mac Jones who fit well in a Shanahan type of quarterback-friendly pro system. So I think it will be interesting to see how much they're willing to give, because quarterbacks do not grow on trees nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was smart of them, though, to say, hey, there's a good chance he could be around here.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much saying, you got to give us a lot.
With Shanahan specifically, though, and this will probably be a conversation for more later this year when we're getting ready to start next season in terms of expectations.
Yeah.
We know with Shanahan, it's when is he gonna finally win that Super Bowl? Is he gonna finally be able to clear that hurdle? And I know a lot of people have thought about, like, if he doesn't do it eventually, at some point you have to consider moving on from him. How he handled this season, even though he was eliminated in the divisional round, how he handled this season, does that buy him not necessarily more time, because we know he's going to be back? Does that buy him more grace of, no, he is a really, really good head coach. He doesn't just have to win a Super Bowl next year to keep his job.
The fans, and I don't know Niners fans as well, because I just got here, right? I have family that's got some Niners fans incorporated in it, but I'm interested in like what their patience level is, because you go to a place like the Pittsburgh Steelers, dedicated fans there, liked Mike Tomlin for so many years until they didn't. Until it just year after year, they couldn't get to, again, they've won a Super Bowl, but they have not gotten to the promised land anytime since then. And I think Mike Tomlin finally saw his time go out, his light get dimmed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more so on the organization to make those those decisions, I should say, as much as the fans, mean something. I don't see them moving on from him anytime in the near future. But then again, this is the NFL and it is a win-now league.
Well, the Niners season may be over, but football season is not. We got AFC and NFC championship games this weekend. Yeah. Very excited, and we'll do a little bit of a preview of, final thoughts and predictions of Broncos and Patriots, Rams and Seahawks. We're going to really dive into that a lot tomorrow, too. So let's start that conversation here in the next segment, coming up next on Matt and Kayla.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from,
we can be twinsies,
to,
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Award-winning guitarist and songwriter Gary Clark Jr. Tour 2026, Saturday, January 31st, 7 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. An electrifying night of music with Gary Clark Jr. Special guest, Marcus King Band. On sale at the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit thundervalleyresort.com. Gary Clark Jr. Live.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Trust and Will.
My dad and I were always close, but some things we just didn't talk about, like his will. After he was gone, we found out he didn't have one, and it created a lot of stress during a time of grief.
Creating a will can be hard to think about, but avoiding it can lead to greater difficulty for the people you love. That's why Trust and Will makes estate planning simple. Create a will online in as little as 30 minutes.
Now, I have a will in place to make sure my loved ones are protected. With Trust and Will, it was easy and affordable. And I got peace of mind knowing my wishes are clear.
Trust and Will.
Get 20% off when you visit trustandwill.com/plan. That's trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's TREX.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
The Travel Guys, new on KHTK 1140 every Saturday at 11 a.m.
We'll make you a smarter traveler. Tips you can use on the road and at the airport, plus reports from top consumer advocates.
The Travel Guys, 11 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. Like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center this Friday through Sunday. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
Sometimes you need country music.
If I'm the problem.
Next time you have that feeling, check out New Country 105.1 KNCI, where you have 4 opportunities each weekday to win $1,000 and double your paycheck. New Country for Sacramento, 105.1 KNCI.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, Toyota. Let's go places.
Guys, feeling low energy or low drive? It could be low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health, start with a free T-check and consultation. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off TRT. Book now at ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Hey, remember when I said we were going to preview the NFC and AFC championship games? Well, we're not. I lied. Ha ha.
Joke's on you.
Gotcha. Got you back, but you can't leave now. That's how it works. Once you start the segment, you have to stick it through. We're going to push that a little bit to tomorrow because obviously a lot of previews on that Friday as we get ready for the weekend's action. But
Friday.
We got some NBA little news and notes to get to. One has nothing to do with the Kings. And we'll start with that one. Another one has a little bit to do with a lot of bit to do with the Kings. But let's start about the one that doesn't have much to do with the Kings whatsoever. Apparently, Rich Paul, you heard of him? Yeah, he's like the king of all agents in the NBA. Rich Paul has reportedly made it clear to the Mavericks that he wants Anthony Davis to be traded by next week. That's according to ESPN. And usually Rich Paul gets his way or can influence things around the league. We know that very well here in Sacramento because a year ago around this time, he did everything in his power to get his client, De'Aaron Fox, the heck up out of here and to San Antonio where he wanted to go. And to get his client, Zach LaVine, here to Sacramento. Anthony Davis really does not have anything to do with the Sacramento Kings. There should be no interest. There is no interest, so we're not going to make this into a Kings conversation. But where it could loosely, somewhat, maybe kind of impact the Kings is I think the Golden State Warriors probably have, I don't know how significant of an interest, but Anthony Davis to the Golden State Warriors, I imagine, is a conversation that they're having and more on their radar. And unless it was like some sort of 3-team deal, which maybe the Kings could get involved in order to bring Kuminga here, I'd imagine any trade between the Warriors and Mavericks to send Anthony Davis to the Warriors would also involve sending Jonathan Kuminga to the Mavericks, which means the Kings are kind of SOL in that sense.
Blunked out of luck.
Yeah.
So in that type of situation, Matt, let's just put it out there. That Rich Paul gets his way like he usually
all hail
does.
Rich Paul.
All hail. It's like Drew Rosenthal in the NFL,
Yep.
like the king of all agents, right?
You are king.
You are king. So what would this look like to you? Would it be like in terms of Anthony Davis? going to the Golden State Warriors, you are assuming that, yes, Kuminga has to be, in my eyes.
That's why they signed into that deal.
That's the reason, right? To get him out. Would it be just a straight deal?
I don't think so. I don't think the money works that well. I guess what we're doing to the trade machine, everybody.
I gotta download the trade machine, by the way.
Just Google it, man.
The trade machine. Okay, I'm excited about using this.
To the trade machine, somewhere Alan Stiles is smiling.
Yes,
by nature, I'm putting the Kings in there, but it has nothing to do with
You
the
just
Kings.
put the Kings in there?
Naturally. It's just, I immediately, it's like second nature. Just go to the Kings immediately. Well, okay, so we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks sending Anthony Davis to the Golden State Warriors. Anthony Davis is making $54.1 million this season. And has
is Jimmy Butler.
I guess you could do a straight up send Jimmy Butler over. And, I mean, I think the Dallas Mavericks wouldn't hate. So maybe there is a scenario where, okay, let's get the Kings involved here a little bit. Let's say Anthony Davis but the Mavericks would want. Okay, we'll get there. Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler, the finances work pretty straight up for that. You send Jonathan Kuminga to the Sacramento Kings, make this a 3-team deal. We always got to involve the Kings. Make this a 3-team deal. The Sacramento Kings send what? Malik Monk or DeMar DeRozan to the Dallas Mavericks to sweeten the pot, and maybe the Warriors send a first-round pick. That might be a little too much to ask for.
Well, the Mavericks have to get rid of a contract. So let's say Daniel Gafford.
Okay, and Daniel Gafford, what, going to Sacramento or going to...
No, going to the Warriors.
So, Daniel Gafford going to the Warriors, so they get 2 bigs, 2 center. Well, they need center depth, I guess. 2 bigs going to the Warriors, and this is great radio. I'm sorry.
They also need one more contract to match DeRozan's money, so Klay Thompson, welcome back to the Bay.
Oh, I hate this. I'm having less fun. Now I'm having less fun. That would make sense, I suppose. All right, does that even work? I'm doing this
for that bum Klay Thompson.
That's Kyle Ledbetter right there.
Do not dog on my Washington State Coug. I know you guys all dislike him because he was a Golden State Warrior.
I like Klay a lot.
But I love Klay.
I don't dislike Klay because he's a Golden State Warrior. I dislike Klay because he scored 0 points in his last game against the Sacramento Kings. We should never let him forget that.
It's because did you have him? Did you pick him to were you betting on him or something?
Yeah.
No, I just think we should point out that in Klay Thompson's last game ever with the Warriors, he scored 0 points against the Sacramento Kings.
Doesn't make him a bum. He just had a bad game.
I mean, 0 points.
That was a rough game.
Yeah, that is rough.
What a bum he is.
Well, that's what Ja called him, and, Ja got called out flat on the floor that night.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
So we're still trying to figure out
we're
what
working
this
on
trade...
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes.
And Matt's trying to put this together here.
Okay, so Anthony Davis... We are trying to figure out, and maybe you if you want to call quick or give us your thoughts on the YouTube chat.
Fail.
Anthony Davis is obviously trying to get his out of Dallas. So where would be some landing spots? We're talking about Golden State for the sheer fact that it could involve the Kings, but it might not at all.
Yeah, I gotta get one more. I gotta get rid of $10 million from the Dallas Mavericks. I gotta send $10 million of salary to the Mavericks, probably to the Kings. But the framework of the deal is Jimmy goes to Dallas.
Yeah.
DeMar also goes to Dallas. Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford go to the Warriors. The Kings get Jonathan Kuminga, but the Kings would likely have to take a second player in this deal to free up a little bit more money. So we're working on it.
So the other things, Kyle, I don't know if you saw this as well, but I guess the Toronto Raptors are rumored to have a little bit of interest in AD too.
Yeah, well, they're looking for an upgrade at the big man position.
Yeah.
It seems to be kind of their whole thing. Now, they apparently seem willing to include some level of draft capital. I see Matt a little puzzled over there putting it together.
With the numbers.
It's like that gif or that meme of just the numbers going through my head. It's basic math, Matt. Jeez, come on.
No, math is basic to people like me who don't like math.
Well, so Caleb Martin makes $9.5 million, but there's 3 years left on that deal. What is
I have a version if we want it to, but anyways, the Raptors you were saying, Kayla?
Yes, I was seeing if you had heard that as well. They need a big man in terms of the Raptors. AD, there's been some sort of talk with that link.
But they are interested in Sabonis. I have a 4-team one, Matt, if you want it.
Oh, 4-team. Now we're getting crazy. All right, lay it on me.
Okay, so in this scenario, the Warriors would get Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and Daniel Gafford. The Mavericks would get Jimmy Butler and DeMar DeRozan and probably some draft compensation because they're moving Anthony Davis, probably from the Warriors, I had to guess. The Kings would get Jonathan Kuminga and Cam Thomas's expiring contract from the Nets, probably no plans to re-sign him. The Nets would get Buddy Hield, Devin Carter, and a second-round pick.
Okay, that's crazy enough.
Okay.
That's spicy enough.
So from the
Okay,
Kings'
Kyle?
standpoint, you get rid of DeRozan and Carter and end up with Kuminga and Cam Thomas.
I'm so stinking close. I'm off by 700,000, and I don't think it works. I don't think a 3-team deal works.
What were you working up?
Essentially, so Gafford, Davis to the Warriors, DeRozan and Butler to the Mavericks, and that's a lot of salary that they're bringing in.
There.
And Jonathan Kuminga and Caleb Martin to
Okay.
the Sacramento Kings, but it's not enough. I need another 700,000, and that ain't happening.
700,000 going which direction?
To 700, the Dallas needs to get rid of another 700,000.
Well, they don't have a minimum contract guy or something?
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Doesn't look. I don't know.
You got Dante Exum. You want to get rid of Dwight Powell?
Yeah, now we're getting in the weeds.
Well, maybe it won't involve Sacramento.
Yeah, maybe the Kings
it
could
won't
try it,
involve-
but like, look, this is what Scott Perry has to do. Hey, if there's any conversation that remotely involves the Golden State Warriors, the Sacramento Kings should try and get into it to some capacity. Wow, that was great radio. Thanks for sticking with us. Hey, another note. Did you guys talk about this while I was deep in the trade machine?
No, we didn't.
Talking about Anthony Davis.
Yeah, well, from Jake Fisher, sources say the Raptors personnel are also messaging that Toronto isn't actively pursuing Memphis's John Morant. Nobody wants him. Even though the Grizzlies continue to welcome inquiries for Morant. Yeah, of course you welcome inquiries. You want to get rid of him, but no one's going to give you what you want. Anyway, but I have been told by various NBA figures that the Raptors are still intrigued by the prospect of pursuing Sacramento Kings center Domantas Sabonis.
He said that real quick because
Oh,
I
did
was
you?
asking about everyone's tied to the Raptors.
Yep.
There's like every player we've been talking about has been tied to the Raptors, but that is the little nugget in there that says there is still intrigue for Domantas Sabonis.
But again, like we talked about yesterday, even as much as the Kings like, or Scott Perry may like RJ Barrett, if you're trading Domantas Sabonis to the Raptors, you're going to have to take back a contract that you don't necessarily like. So unless there's proper draft compensation slapped on top of that, or unless the Kings all of a sudden really like the idea of either Jakob Poeltl or Emmanuel Quickley as a long-term solution here or part of the full rebuild, because Quickley and Poeltl both have 3 years left. We're talking the whole length of this rebuild that they would be
Poeltl
here.
contract's bad.
Yeah, both of them are not. I mean, Quickley's a good player, but $32.5 million for a point guard that I don't know how you feel about him. Like, unless you're asking the Raptors to give you RJ Barrett, asking the Raptors to give up another one of their key rotational pieces that they paid more money than they want to pay, and minimum, but I would say probably more than one first-round pick. I just don't know if the Raptors are ever going to do it in a way that makes Scott Perry open to taking on those kind of contracts. And that's where the sticking point is.
Well, Mr. Trade Machine, I've got Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and a first-round pick for Sabonis and Malik Monk.
No, I wouldn't do it. One first-round pick, no.
2 first-round picks?
If you throw 2 in there, I do the deal because I don't want to take on. I don't want 3 years of Emmanuel Quickley unless Scott Perry thinks that's my starting point guard, which I don't think he does. Scott Perry does not like undersized guards, so I don't think he wants to pay Emmanuel Quickley almost $100 million over the next 3 years.
Scott Perry did draft and sign him to that extension.
That is true.
No, not the extension. He signed RJ Barrett to his extension.
Right.
Didn't sign Quickley to his extension.
Well, I'm sorry. Was RJ Barrett part of that deal?
When they both went to Toronto?
No, the trade machine one that you just laid out.
Yes.
Yeah, so RJ Barrett, I think the Kings would absolutely want.
It was Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and draft comp for Sabonis and Malik Monk.
If draft comp,
2.
I think draft comp has to be 2.
Yeah.
Unless it's 1 unprotected for like this year. I don't know.
What if it's the Raptors first this year, which won't be good, and a future first protected and a bunch of seconds?
Go away.
we just want to trade so bad here.
A bunch of seconds. What is this,
Hey,
Vlade
and
Divac?
throw in a box of chocolates while you're at
That's
it.
what Vlade
Thanks,
Divac
Scott.
did. Vlade said, I'm not going to draft Luka Doncic. Instead, I'm going to acquire 10 billion second-round picks that mean nothing. I'm going to put together, the Stockton Kings are going to be the most loaded team in the G League for years to come because I am the Oklahoma City Thunder of the second round. That's what Vlade Divac did.
You know what, Matt? You drive a hard bargain. So I've gone back and changed it. We're now adding Ochai Agbaji to the Kings and sending Dario Saric out.
So I just added another player?
I forgot Saric was on the team.
No
okay?
one knows. Saric doesn't know
forgot
he's
he
on
was
the
the
team. Saric sits there and collects a paycheck.
The thing with Saric, though, is what did we say the trade deadline was? February 4th?
February 5th.
February 5th. On February 6th, we will be getting the notification the Kings have waived Dario Saric if he's still on the team.
But they also acquired him so that they could use that $5 million to trade, or at the very least, it comes off the books. I don't know, but that's a roster spot that they need to use on Dylan Cardwell. Question to the audience out there. I really appreciate you tuning in. How are our numbers going up in this segment? This is a disaster. You're listening to an idiot and Kayla on the NBA trade machine trying to figure out what is going on. Thankfully, Whitey Gleason and Alan Stott, well, Alan's not going to help. Alan's going to dive deeper into the trade.
He might not.
Alan's going to be all over the trade machine. This is what he does. Whitey Gleason, save us as we wrap up this show right here at Matt and Kayla, Sactown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Right now at Elk Grove Honda, you can lease a 2025 Accord Hybrid Sports Sedan for only $39.99 down, including first payment due at lease inception, excluding tax and license. 35 monthly payments of $299 plus tax, license, and zero security deposit on approved credit. Mileage in excess of 10,000 per year at 20 cents per mile. It really is the least you can do. We're Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or on the web at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
At InShape, there's a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, walker, runner, sauna seeker, recoverer. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Well, this is certainly a radio show.
Small Kings.
Keep going.
That's all I got right now. It's
all the small kings. No boards, no rings.
Is this a song that's real?
Well, yeah.
It is now.
Say it ain't so.
You're just doing this
Kings
on the
will
spot,
not
huh?
go to
In
the
fairness, I play this song
playoffs.
a lot. Yeah. He's had time to think.
You really thought about it. Yes. Your
Na,
next,
na, na,
next video?
na, na, no wins. Anyway, all right.
And there's the guy right there.
All right, Chris
to,
Watkins.
do the video for us.
Chris Watkins has to work with me on a daily basis now, and I watch him on a daily basis contemplate life.
Hey, special treat today. 2:30, Chris Watkins is going to join.
Traitor!
Guys.
Let's
yeah.
go.
Traitor!
Yeah.
He's our guy. You can't.
Well, no, Traders doesn't come out till tonight.
Oh, don't say anything because I've
Oh, I'm
only watched
excited.
the first two.
I am excited for that.
I'm telling you gotta watch episode 3.
Do you
I
like
know,
does
I'm
Whitey
working
Gleason?
on it.
Whitey Gleason, what top 3 reality TV shows? I know you're
Whitey
chopped.
goes nuts. That's a cooking
Boy,
one,
you
right?
had to work
it's
hard to come
awesome.
up with
Yeah.
that one.
It's awesome.
You're not a
Yeah.
reality TV guy?
Not that much.
What about like reality TV, like game shows, like a Survivor or a Big Brother? Or...
Yeah, I used to be a big Survivor fan way back when.
What happened?
There's so
I
many
love Survivor.
seasons.
But so the show that we're
Did
talking
find out once, but I was doing an interview with Jeff Probst, and he explained that one time during one Survivor, he got stung in the testicles by a jellyfish.
Oh, dang.
So
that
that's-
probably blew up.
Yeah, probably.
What do I do with that? Where do I go? That's why they shouldn't fish in where they shouldn't fish. You'll get
That's
sting,
right.
You'll get sting in the cojones by jellyfish if you fish near Alan's
That's
house.
right.
I think Alan watches a little Housewives like I do.
I watch a lot of trashy
Let's
TV,
go.
but not Housewives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is your trashy
what's
TV
the
of
trashy-
choice?
I mean, dating shows,
Nice.
Love
Oh,
Island,
Love Island.
No.
Temptation
Let's go.
Island.
Okay,
yeah.
with your wife or by yourself?
No. We watch it
With
together.
the wifey.
Okay.
Yeah, but we watched before Love Island got popping. We watched Love Island UK.
Yeah.
Right? We don't really the U.S. is fine.
Yeah.
But we've been watching Love Island for years and years. UK,
Australia.
Yeah, you
I
get it.
watched Love Island before it was cool.
And we'll get into the Bachelor, Bachelorette.
Okay.
You know, we'll break it all down.
He's a Golden Bachelor guy.
I was
no,
thinking that.
I can't stand the Golden Bachelor.
That's a little
Old
weird.
people can't love each other.
You can. I just don't want to watch.
I know.
Why is that, Alan?
I just not for me. You know, I got to choose my trashy TV wisely, and I'm not choosing that one.
Them going to an exotic date to like bingo doesn't
I'm
do it
good.
for you?
I know my mom's like,
Sizzler.
have you
Yeah.
caught up on that episode? I'm like, Mom, I'm not 60.
Yeah.
Like, Mom.
Did you see how much fun they had at the Golden Corral?
Well, of course. What are we talking about here? You know, Love Is Blind is kind of falling off to
it
me.
has a little.
A little bit. The
Last year
Ultimatum. I watch them all.
Love it
I watch
first.
them all.
Is that the one where you
Alan.
get married immediately?
Love is
Love
blind.
is Blind is where
Yeah.
you choose someone after dating without seeing each other, sight unseen. You get engaged, sight unseen.
And a lot of them then see the people and they fall quickly.
Basically
out of
happened
love.
to our radio show. We had no idea who we were, and then we just did a radio show
Definitely
together.
did.
Are we the Love Is Blind of
We
Sactown
are.
Sports?
Pretty much.
So if
Boy.
the NBA trade deadline is a reality show, to whom is Scott Perry going to give the rose, and to whom is he going to give the hose?
Look at you, Whitey.
Well, we know he's trying to give Kuminga the rose.
Yeah,
Right.
he's been throwing
He's
the
like-
bouquet at Kuminga.
Yeah,
and
right.
the Warriors are swatting it.
Yeah.
No, you can't talk to him.
Yeah, he's trying.
The hose is probably everybody else. No,
Keon.
Zach.
Yeah.
Well, it might be Keon. Zach Levine. But we had
Oh, yeah.
Mark Spears on today.
I
and
heard
Mark
that.
Spears said straight up, he's like, Scott Perry ain't coaching the team. He said Scott Perry likes Keon. This is a Doug Christie decision why he's
I heard that.
Wait,
Yeah.
whoa.
I don't agree
Oh,
with that.
Alan might have said something.
Had we heard that somewhere before?
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We've
AS?
heard that before.
What are we talking about?
We've heard that before.
Share.
I'll tell you, he's going to talk in riddles. He had Keith Smith on his show. Keith Smith said, I think there must be something with the coaches. They don't like Keon Ellis there. And that caused a little bit of
Yeah.
No,
apparently it
that was
ruffled some
that's
feathers.
paraphrasing.
Yeah.
That's paraphrasing. It was, he said, all I know, this is what Keith said. All I know is that people in that building, I know people in that front office like Keon. So one thing to another, maybe there's a bit of a cross riff, if you will, on that thought process. And, you know, it just depends on who says
That
what.
ruffled some feathers, so don't be surprised if you also have ruffled some feathers today. We will see.
Yes.
Par for the course. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Hey, have you guys worked out as a show?
No.
That moment costing you a conversation with Doug Christie and you got Scott Perry instead. Have we talked our way through that?
We haven't really addressed it yet.
We gotta hash that out. Just therapeutic, you
The
know.
effluent in the room.
Because how dare you have someone with an opinion on the stage or what? I don't know.
Hey, man.
Are you?
Hey, man.
Hey, the instigator over here.
I'm not, you know,
Somebody's getting
apparently
punchy over here.
Yeah,
He's throwing
exactly.
punches now.
Hey, man, I'm not gonna, start too much right now. You know what I mean? This is my last. I got Whitey.
Yeah.
is gonna be on the show obviously tomorrow, but I got to go to Sausalito for the wedding. So I'm here. The last
you
thing
don't
I'm
get
going to do is say something that's going to get me a call. When I did hear I was being talked about a lot in the sales or the team meeting today.
Oh.
So I'm on a good stretch right now, and I'm not going to blow it up.
He was mentioned.
I was mentioned
For what?
multiple times.
Alan hype.
Who knows?
I
It's
had-
like, make sure someone tells Alan that he was mentioned. And you
We
see-
have heard
you
your
see what
voice.
happens.
Yeah.
Why
I
weren't
had-
you there?
About a million
Well,
times.
it's funny that you say that because I wasn't there because I was at a remote for the brand new H&R Block in Folsom, so it was not warm out there, but I was out there with my boy Jay Woods. We're out there for a couple hours. Then I had to boogie on over here, and I literally parked and came right up here.
Well, we took a page out of your playbook and we spent the last segment of
was
of
Oh, I heard.
this radio show.
It was, I had to finish up Sam
He
Amick.
walked out of the building.
Once Matt said, hold on, I'm crunching the numbers here, I said, let me just finish up Sam Amick.
Oh, thanks. Good. Thanks for admitting that you turned our show off while on our show.
I had to make sure I had heard all of Sam Amick, and it felt like a good opportunity to do so.
Well, our numbers were risen on the chat at least.
Good,
you know?
good.
Really good thing to say
was
when
not me.
you're actively on the show. You're just telling
you.
Hey, I turned off your show.
Yeah, I never said I turned it off.
Segment.
I never said I turned it off. I had the YouTube on the phone, and you were turned down in the car.
So he never turned you off.
I never turned you off. You got the numbers. You got the numbers. Come on, I wouldn't do you like that, Matt.
You 100% just said you would.
I didn't do you like
You're
that.
on this show saying you stopped listening to this show.
I didn't say I stopped listening. I said I started listening to Sam Amick.
It was strongly implied that you stopped listening.
He's boxing out Alan now.
Whitey, what did you think of the potential of a trade with the Toronto Raptors for one Domantas Sabonis, but the contracts that the Kings would likely have to take back?
I'm not buying it, Matt. I know that
Quiet you.
Jake Fisher says the Raptors are intrigued, which could mean they go, oh, that'd be cool, and that's it. And I forget the name of the guy. I wrote it down somewhere. There's a beat writer for the Toronto Star or somewhere, and I read this morning. He said he doesn't see it happening. He thinks it'd be really difficult to pull off. So I know we all, we hear so-and-so team likes whatever Kings player, and we all, whoa, look at that.
Wait, what do we like?
It's a trade, maybe.
That's right.
Goodness. One quick question I want to ask both of you, and we do mention his
You
name.
can only ask
Be careful,
one of them.
yeah, because Matt doesn't want you talking.
Yeah, don't talk
Kuminga.
to He actually ask the guy that listened to the show.
I did listen.
My reality buddy over here. Do we feel like there will be a trade made for Kuminga in terms of working with Kings and Golden State?
I don't think there will, because I think they're going to now say,
okay,
you know what, we're better off keeping him because he's going to be our replacement, unless they can get somebody, a big name, which I don't think they will.
Whitey, what are you and just you talking about on the show today that I will be listening to the entire time?
Well, I mentioned this also upset you. Chris Watkins is going to be on with us.
Well, See what? I like him.
If you loved Whitey and Watkins and you love Styles and Watkins, you're going to love Styles and Watkins and Whitey today.
I like 2/3 of that right now.
Wow.
How can you just mute Alan when he talks?
Yeah, just turn me down. That's what I did to you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but we get the numbers.
Coming up next, it's the Drive Guy, Whitey Gleason, and nobody else on Sactown Sports. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Ugh.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range